one team tonight will clinch its berth in the 2023 World Baseball Classic, and it's a 3-run shot from Cincinnati Reds to Welby Marte. 2 out, 2-run single. Harry Ford just continues to crush. A 1-run game now at the bottom of the 7th as Deshaun Knowles goes yard. And a drive to right. We are tied. Wow, we are headed to extra innings. Should be deep enough. The catch, the tag, and Great Britain is walking off to the World Baseball Classic.
Their very first World Baseball Classic. Looking for their very first World Baseball Classic win.
Visa.
Colombia, Great Britain, ready to go. Chase Fields. Right-hander Tyler Visa, who grew up here in Phoenix, gets the start for Great Britain. Colombia is the visiting team. Colombia's got some pop. Look at the middle of this lineup. Jorge Alfaro had 2 doubles in the Game 1 win. Reynaldo Rodriguez, a late roster replacement, 3 for 4 and a big home run. It's a Colombian team that sits at 1-0 after a day off. Visa, the guy that was drafted out of Desert Vista High School here in Phoenix in the 32nd round. He was in the minor leagues for a long while. Last year, he was in AA and AAA with the Twins, and at the end of the year, he ended up in the Chinese League and went 3-1.
Yeah, and he was born in Great Britain, and I know he's really anxious for this opportunity today. The one thing we've talked about this throughout the course of these first 2 games that Great Britain has played, they got to eliminate the walks. You know, we talk about 16 walks against Team Canada, and that leads to bad defense. Drew Spencer, the manager, understands you got to throw it over. Give your defense at least a chance to make good plays behind you, but 16 walks really got the Great Britain defense back on their heels, and they kicked it around a bit. They got to clean that up today.
And it will be interesting to see the mindset of Colombia. And in talking to Holbert Cabrera, he said everybody sat and watched and enjoyed last night's wild affair with Mexico beating USA in front of a sellout here in Phoenix. And of course, USA later tonight taking on Canada. Canada is 1-0, just like Colombia. Campero hit the ground ball that was mishandled by Luis Arias in the 10th inning, and that provided Colombia with a 1-run lead, and that's all they needed. They held that lead in the bottom of the 10th and got out with a win.
Yeah, it was a spinning ball. He really didn't hit the ball very hard, but Arias got fooled by the spin, and it kicked off his glove.
That's a strike, and that's Jonathan Biarreta, a Venezuelan umpire, with Corey Blazer at first, Felix Tejada of the Dominican Republic at second, and Doug Eddings over at third base. We were wondering what the uniforms, the home uniforms of Great Britain would look like. They've been in their road grays for the first 2. And there's your first look.
Yeah, they only get to host 1 game because of their seating in this 5-team pool. So this is their only home opportunity.
There's Holbert Cabrera. And they've got their road blues on with the gray pants and the sweet yellow caps. That's strike 3 called.
A good start. He got behind, but then rebounded, comes back and throws a good pitch on the inside. Take a look at the defense in the outfield. Rudd, Thompson, and Young from left to right. Sweeney and Seymour up the middle. Darnell Sweeney has had kind of a rough start to this tournament defensively. B.J. Murray at third. Nick Ward over at first, and Harry Ford, a young catcher in the Seattle Mariners organization, back behind the plate again.
Harold Ramirez was 1 for 4 in the win over Mexico, and he takes outside. Gio Urshela to follow. And then you get into the boppers. Alfaro in the cleanup spot, Rodriguez in the 5 spot. And Visa, whose parents and family were season ticket holders to the Diamondbacks. So he used to sit in this ballpark and watch a lot of Major League Baseball. Check swing. It hit the bat and I think the hand. I don't know if he swung at it. If he didn't swing at it, they did say, the first base umpire said swing.
Well, it's a fair ball. The ball went into fair territory, and the home plate umpire called it a fair ball. Take a look here. Does it hit the knob? I don't know if it hit the knob. His hand is beyond the knob. It's extended as he grabs the hand. So I think the hand is...
If it hits his hand and he doesn't swing at the pitch, that's a hit batter.
Right.
And the umpires right now are talking it over. And this is reviewable to see if it hit him. Let's listen.
Well, it certainly had a lot of sound as if it hit the bat. And it is a reviewable play. Hit by pitch is reviewable, and they have gone to the replay, obviously.
Not reviewable if he swung, but only reviewable if it hit him or not.
Yeah, you can't challenge whether or not he swung at the pitch. You can challenge if he got hit by the pitch. Listen again.
Let's listen again. Well, I don't know. That's hard to tell. The original call was out, so you're going to have compelling evidence to overturn this.
Yeah, and when he grips the bat, his hand extends beyond the bottom of the barrel. You can see how his hand is below the knob of that bat, but it certainly sounded like it hit the knob of the bat. It may have hit his hand as well, but I don't know if there's enough evidence to overturn the ruling, which is out on a ground ball back to the pitcher. Now the two Major League umpires are discussing this. Corey Blazer and Doug Eddings. They're umping at first and third respectively. Eddings is the crew chief of this crew, and he's got communication with New York, and they've got their decision. Out.
Out. So they feel that it hit the bat and not the hand.
So Ramirez is out, and there will be a 1-3 put out as the ball stayed in fair territory. Now, if the same thing happened and went foul, then nothing more than a foul ball.
And so Visa as a strikeout and a ground ball out is off to a good start here.
Yeah, and Great Britain has had some breaks go against him, and this time they get one to go in their favor.
Here's Urshela now. This is a real different feel for Great Britain because they were the visitor and they scored first in both those games. Visa's job here is to get into the bottom of the first with a chance to take the lead again.
3 straight games.
Yeah. Breaking balls outside. All right, here's the finish of that play.
Ball goes back to the pitcher's mound, and Visa runs it halfway over to first, and that's a 1-3 put out after review.
2-0's outside. Urshela, of course, extensive Major League experience, outstanding defensive third baseman, and he showed that with a terrific play going to his right in Game 1 in that win over Mexico. Been to the postseason, had big moments there as well, and that fastball's up. And Visa walks him, and now you get into a dangerous spot in Colombia's lineup because Jorge Alfaro has had a great spring training and had a great first game of the World Baseball Classic. And of course, we all know what Ronaldo Rodriguez did with his big home run.
Now, Saturday against Mexico, he was 2 for 3. He scored 3 runs in that game, including the winning run in the top of the 10th. But you mentioned spring training. He's in camp with the Red Sox, and so far in spring training, he's 7 for 10. That's a pretty good start.
Let's start the season now. Urshela not a threat to run at first. And that breaking ball looked like it caught the outside part and the knees, but that's a tough pitch. Visa now falls behind 1-0.
I think Drew Spence, the manager for Great Britain, would just as soon Colombia beats them with hits. He can't stand many more walks, and a 2-out walk here in the first has put Urshela at first base. And they have just been too generous with the base on balls.
Well, that's the thing. Colombia didn't walk in their game, and Great Britain's allowed 22 in there too. So right out of the bat, you can see that control will be an issue, and you don't want guys on base in front of Alfaro and Rodriguez. Those are the guys that you circle and say, don't let those guys beat you. Drew Spencer, Zach Graveser, the pitching coach, got him on a breaking ball to pop it up. Seymour calls Ward off and makes the catch, and here is Great Britain. And Tyler Visa getting out of that first inning. Great Britain ready to go to work. They showed signs of offense in both games. Chavez Young especially, with 3 stolen bases in yesterday's ball game. Trace Thompson's got the pop. Harry Ford is the top prospect for the Seattle Mariners. And a lot of switch hitters and lefty bats against righty William Cuevas.
Cuevas is 32 years old. He actually pitched in parts of 3 seasons in the big leagues. He made his debut with the Boston Red Sox in relief way back in 2016. That was at Fenway Park. He's a strike thrower, not overpowering, and he's going to fill up the strike zone. You know, Great Britain scored 8 runs against Team Canada, and they drew 7 walks in that game. So they want to get on base, and they want to utilize their speed.
And they played well against Team USA, who were massive favorites in that game. Young sends it to left field, and Ramirez is there and makes the catch. That was a 6-2 game, Buck, in which they took the lead, and it was a tight game throughout. Everybody expected that to be a run rule game, and it wasn't. And that, I don't know if that was a preview of issues with Team USA, because last night they had trouble scoring runs and generating offense, especially early in that big win by Mexico.
Yeah, and Great Britain has scored 10 runs in 2 games. I don't think anybody expected that type of offense. It's been the defense and the pitching that's really let them down.
And this was the offense, this guy, the offense against USA. And that's Trace Thompson, the Dodger. Takes a breaking ball, hits it high into the air. Campero coming on, and he almost overran it and makes the catch.
Take a look at the defense behind Cuevas. In the outfield, Harold Ramirez, big leader in left, and Mercado from the Guardians, he's in the center. Campero is in right. Frias and Diaz up the middle. Urshela with that great glove over at third. Ronaldo Rodriguez, a veteran, over at first base. And Mabrice Gloria is the catcher today.
Matt Koperniak, patient hitter. He's 0 for 2 with a couple walks so far. He slots into the 3 position. Harry Ford is behind him. Ford homered in yesterday's game.
Yeah, his only hit in the series for the young catcher. He is 1 for 7 at a 3-run home run.
Cuevas spent 3 years in the big leagues. He talked about Detroit, ended up with Boston, was part of the Red Sox World Championship season in 2018. Count is 2-1. And Holbert Cabrera would love to get 3 innings out of Cuevas. Check swing. Did he go? And the home plate umpire, Jonathan Piaretta, actually called that a swing.
Well, you mentioned the bullpen, and obviously with the off day, and it clearly was a swing by Koperniak. So Colombia has a lot of fresh arms down in their bullpen.
Chopper, shift is on. Frias cuts across and flips it on over. Cuevas goes 1-2-3 through Great Britain. Day 3 in Phoenix. Reynaldo Rodriguez. That's right, the big bopper coming up. Underway, first game of 2, Pool C in Phoenix. U.S. and Canada tonight, but this is a big one for Colombia. They're trying to get to 2-0 after their win over Mexico. And Reynaldo Rodriguez steps in. Rodriguez, the 36-year-old, with an absolute ton of international experience. Colombia won the Caribbean League, which is a huge deal for Colombia back in 2022, and this guy was the MVP. The first time Colombia ever won that Caribbean series. He's been in independent baseball, in the Mexican League after 9 minor league seasons with the Yankees, Red Sox, and Twins.
Yeah, and he's literally played everywhere. He played last year on 4 different teams, counting Summer League and Winter League in Mexico. He drove in 100 runs for the season with all those different at-bats combined over 4 teams. He's got some power. He went 3 for 4 in the opener with that home run Rich mentioned. He had a 2-run home run in the 5th, had an RBI single in the 7th. That came against Mexico. You look at his career numbers. 2,783 at-bats, all in the minors.
Yeah, and on like 5 continents probably. Fouls that pitch back, out of play. Well, here's what he looks like in action, and this may be the first StatCast of a Rodriguez home run in history.
It came against Julio Urias and hit the foul pole down the left field line, just snuck over the fence down in the bullpen area, and it was a dramatic home run. It was a home run that would get Colombia a 3-1 lead in the 5th inning.
And obviously it got Mexico's attention as well. That game would go to extra innings, and Colombia would win it in 10. Rodriguez was in the 6th spot in that game, had an RBI single and an infield hit in that 10th. Elias Diaz, the Rockies catcher, who's not playing today for Colombia, was in that 5 spot, and Rodriguez was hitting 6th. Then Colombia had a day off yesterday, and that's great. They're fresh. But they have 3 games in a row, and it's possible that Cabrera is thinking, I want Diaz for the next 2 games, the games against Canada and the USA.
Just off the plate outside, they are really working Rodriguez away, and he's aware of it and saying, okay, you're going to pitch me away. I've got to be patient enough to take those borderline pitches away. The pitch he hit off Urias for the 2-run home run was an inside fastball, and he was able to keep it fair.
He does drive that to the right side. Young is out there. He skips over and makes the catch. And there's an out, and Maybreeze Villarreal, the catcher, comes up. Walking back from the game last night, the USA-Mexico game, back to our hotel, which is about 6 blocks from Chase Field. Hear that music? Turn it up to 11. That's kind of what we heard for about a 3-block radius. It was a massive block party with Team Mexico and their fans. Just an incredible scene last night. It was fun to be in the middle of it, at least briefly, as we.
It was a blast, and they were having all kinds of fun, and they were chanting Joey Meneses' name as he had the big game with 5 RBIs. But it was certainly, and we've heard this comparison throughout the course of this tournament, it was hockey and soccer atmosphere after the game outside the stadium. It was really exciting, and a lot of wonderful fans from Mexico getting into the act, having a lot of fun.
48,000 here, a sellout last night. Villarreal, and that pops out of the glove of Nick Ward, and that has been a bugaboo for Great Britain in their first 2 games. They'll do something well, and then they'll have a defensive lapse like that.
When they started their camp in preparation for this series, Drew Spencer said Darnell Sweeney wasn't our shortstop, but he played so well leading up to their exhibition series that they earned the right. He had good footwork, he had a lot of confidence, but he has not been a very confident fielder. And that ball went off the first baseman's glove, but at the same time, the throw was a little bit offline. It's an error on Sweeney, and he's had his issues in this series.
And it puts a little pressure on Tyler Viza. Over the middle, knocked down. Seymour just got him. Jordan Diaz, the Colombian hitter, thrown out by less than a step.
Terrific play by Seymour. He's going to get an in-between hop, and he stays in front of it, knocks it down, and recovers in time to throw out Diaz at first. You can see he got that tricky hop. It goes off his chest, but he stays on it, barehands it, and fires in time to record the out. Boy, that's a big play after Sweeney made the error, but now there are 2 outs. They got a chance to get out of this situation.
Now Mercado into center field. That's a base hit. Colombia on the board. And an unearned run here in the 2nd inning.
Yeah, and Drew Spencer has told us throughout the course of these games, they have to win the margins, make the easy play, and that was another routine play that they couldn't make, and this is a hanging breaking ball. Mercado gets his first hit of the series, an RBI single. He's now 1 for 5 in this series. Right back up the middle. A clean single into center, and Colombia has the lead.
Diane Frias, runner bluffs. Mercado back to first. And the count is 1-0. If you haven't watched Great Britain, Drew Spencer is their manager. 4-time All-Ivy selection at Dartmouth.
He's done a terrific job with this program, obviously getting them into the tournament. They won 3 games in the qualifier in Germany. Very patient man, great communicators, got the ability to tell his players what he expects from them, and he's got to be patient. You've got a lot of inexperienced players and a lot of players that might be beyond their prime, but they have represented themselves well. It's just that they've committed a few too many mistakes. Chavez Young is now in the Pirates organization, came up with the Blue Jays. He's the right fielder, and he keeps telling his teammates, we have to make 27 outs. We have to be focused for 27 outs. You might have been able to get away with that in rookie ball or A ball. You can't get away with it anymore.
Those are hard lessons to learn, Buck. And you would expect in the next World Baseball Classic, Great Britain will close the door on some of those margins. With the runner moving, Frias fouls it back and out of play. And that's the challenge for a nation that has started baseball at the grassroots level like Great Britain has and has come a long way in a short time. There are players from the Bahamas that are eligible to play for Great Britain, much like Curacao and those islands are for the Netherlands. 1-2.
Yeah, they've committed 5 errors, and we've talked about the walks, and those are 2 things that players that are just starting out don't really understand how important they are. You know, when everybody plays baseball, what do they want to do first? They want to hit. I want to hit. I want to take batting practice. And when managers and coaches say, wait a minute, we got to do the fundamentals first, and that's how you build a program. You build it through fundamentals. Catch the ball and throw it over. Two of the basics of winning baseball.
Another 1-2, runner moving. Little chopper. Ward has it, gets to the bag, and gets the out. But Colombia's on the board. Unearned run. Welcome back, World Baseball Classic in Phoenix. It's a gorgeous day outside. We're inside Chase Fields with Colombia on top 1-0 and William Cuevas on the mound. Harry Ford, the home run yesterday. He didn't have a great game 1. He looked much better in game 2. The Seattle Mariners certainly think a lot of him, and so does just about everybody else in baseball. As Ford swings and misses, and the count is 1-1.
Well, he's got a big bat. Obviously, he's hitting cleanup in this lineup, and that 3-run home run he hit was a very timely one as it got him within striking distance. That came in the 4th inning against Canada.
Hits that one pretty well to right. Campero is there, and he makes the catch. The scouting report on him: athleticism, speed, great arm, plate discipline, and pop.
This came against Evan Reske of Team Canada, and he hit it deep into the seats in left field. He had struck out both times he'd come to the plate, and then in the 4th inning with 2 aboard, he goes deep over 400 feet, and this is what they do to acknowledge a home run. You get a crown and a royal robe in the dugout.
Sir Trace Thompson has one of those, and so does Harry Ford. Here's Nick Ward. Ward's path to the World Baseball Classic in Great Britain started at Westchester University in Pennsylvania. A couple years of minor league baseball. Last year, independent league, and he pulls that one at an odd angle, and the count is 1-1. That's a small school, Westchester University, but there's some pretty good players that have come out of there. John Mabry, Pat Kelly, the infielder, Joey Wendell, and Nick Ward. JP Morosi, have you been on that campus, Westchester University?
I have not yet, but I would love to be there. Of course, he would be a collegiate rival of Chas McCormick at Millersville, but now he is a member of his hometown Phillies. And when Trey Turner was running at first base in the U.S. Great Britain game, he got to first, and Nick was talking to him, and Trey says, so Nick, what team do you play for? And Nick said, I play for the Phillies. In fact, I've been a Philly longer than you.
That's pretty cool. He signed with the Phillies in December, and he's looking forward to another opportunity.
That's great to hear because, and we've talked about this, there aren't as many minor league jobs as there were 2 or 3 years ago. So the fact that he went to Indy Ball, had a good year, and that shows you that the level of independent baseball has kind of risen because of more players and more skill, and that's earned him a shot with the Phillies.
And he also played in Australia and had a good season in Australia. He played for Adelaide, hit .344 in winter ball in Australia.
All right, JP, it's different paths for different players to get to the Classic.
Yes, indeed. And Nick Ward's family here in attendance. His mother, Claire Ward, there she is. His girlfriend, Megan Yar, and his father, Dan Ward, as well. Claire was actually born in Colchester, England.
Nice. And they're on the edge of their seat with every swing.
Absolutely, you know, and you could imagine how many ball games they have watched Nick play in, and this is obviously the biggest opportunity for their son, and it's a great opportunity for sure.
B.J. Murray, the hitter. Murray laces that one in the gap, and it's going to scoot to the wall, and he can run, headed to second. And it's a double, a 2-out double. Great Britain has their first hit.
Great Britain playing in their 3rd game, and you can see their at-bats are getting better with each game as they're a little more comfortable, a little more relaxed. The stage isn't quite as big as they anticipated. That's a good pitch. He stays on it, probably off the plate outside, and splits the outfielders in left center. So a big 2-out double here. Now Darnell Sweeney. Sweeney's got an RBI in this series. He is 3 for 8 so far.
Little cup of tea. That's kind of been their universal sign for a big hit. The home run gets you the robe and the crown and knighthood. That one is fouled back and out of play. Sweeney grew up in South Florida. His dad a native in the Virgin Islands. Murray, who just doubled, also played his college ball in South Florida at Florida Atlantic. As a kid, he was in the Bahamas. He didn't have a lot of access to baseball. The Bahamas is still developing their baseball program, which will help Great Britain, certainly. Murray told us he had one game and one practice a week and limited access to really a lot of baseball. That program and that area is starting to percolate with more youth teams, more academies. Many of those players end up in South Florida at local high schools or in college baseball.
Yeah, and it's just becoming more and more popular with the success of some of these younger players as they make their way through the minors, eventually into the big leagues.
On the ground, Rodriguez is waiting, steps on the bag. 2-out double by B.J. Murray. William Cuevas, no worries there. After 2, 1-0, Colombia. Colombia is rather new to the World Baseball Classic 2017. They had to qualify. They did that. They won in Panama City. And man, did they come close to taking down the United States. And that Dominican game was closer than that score. And they were very close to advancing.
Well, baseball's still trying to gain popularity in the entire extent of the country. There are a couple of areas that's very popular. Cartagena and Barranquilla, two of the hotbeds of baseball in Colombia. And you saw the Cabrera brothers, how they're trying to build the interest in Colombia for baseball.
And for a team that just qualified in 2017 to be sitting 1-0 here with this level of talent's pretty darn good. Up the middle, around it is Seymour, bounces the throw. Ward is there, and safe at first is Gustavo Campero.
Yeah, another jam shot as Campero gets jammed, and the ball wasn't hit very hard. And by the time Seymour gets it, had trouble coming up with it cleanly in his glove, and it's not much on the throw, slow bounce, and boy, it was bang bang at first, and they're still having a look at it.
I think they review that. Nope.
There's another look at it. Couldn't get much on the throw. Difficult to tell from that angle.
Yeah, Tyler Viza, if you ask him, hey, take a look. Campero is at first base. Harold Ramirez, top of the order here. And then Urshela, Alfaro, and Rodriguez. Even though they've only been in the one World Baseball Classic, I mean, they should have taken down the Dominican Republic. That USA loss was just by 1 run. Up the middle, deflected off the pitcher, out there, and safe there. Ward couldn't hold the throw.
Well, I tell you what, Great Britain is getting some tough bounces early in this game, and that was a good play by the second baseman, Seymour. And he said, wait a minute, the pitcher may have gotten hit by this. Take a look at the comeback. It looked like it may have caught Viza on the back of the leg. Seymour puts the tag on the runner, Campero, throws to first, but Ramirez hustles as the ball looked like it bounced in the dirt. Take another look at the pitcher. Guy caught him on the back of his left leg. The training staff out to have a look at it. Viza didn't feel the impact, obviously, with the adrenaline here in this ball game, and now he and Ford are talking things over. But he appears to be okay.
And watch this. That's got to be a catch.
Yeah, it sure does. It looked like it was originally in the dirt, but we couldn't tell from the first shot we saw, and that's another play that you've got to make. Chance to get the double play.
Here's Urshela. Line to right. Young is there, makes the catch. What has followed normally with a Great Britain mistake is a big hit and a couple runs, and that certainly fueled the 18-run outburst by Canada.
Yeah, and the defense has just been so shaky. But again, when you're starting out a baseball program, that's the last thing that players understand about the importance of pitching and defense. I mean, it's the backbone of the game, no matter where you play. If you're playing a WBC, if you're playing the 7th game of the World Series, you win on pitching and defense.
36 pitches for Tyler Viza. And Alfaro, who popped out back in the first. And a big swing and a miss. He may have the best hair in Pool C.
He got plenty of it, doesn't he?
Certainly has the shiniest elbow guard.
Yeah, he and the pitcher actually were in the Phillies organization together. They were in the minor leagues together. As Alfaro was coming through the system, he was a terrific catching prospect. He actually caught the majority of Viza's 16 starts in 2016. So they know each other. I always found it kind of challenging to face a pitcher that I caught. You know, like he knows what I know, and I know what he knows. I wonder if he's thinking like I am.
So you end up thinking too much. Sweeney, little flip. And Great Britain able to get out without any damage after the error. 1-0 Colombia.
William Cuevas on the mound for Team Colombia today, and he was there when one of the more pivotal games in Colombian baseball history was decided March the 12th, 2017, just 6 years ago yesterday. He took the loss at 26 years of age. He told me, Rich, in the last couple days, quote, "It was insane how loud the field was that day. That was an experience that's going to be in my memories forever." So certainly trying to write a different story in the 23 edition of the Classic.
He faced 5 batters in that 10th inning and was charged with 6 runs because there was the runner that started the inning in extra innings. He gave up 3 hits in that inning, and a tough loss. Remember, they looked like they had a chance to win it in the bottom of the 9th when Jose Bautista threw out the runner at the plate, and that could have been a winning run. And then the emotions of that entire situation. And here's the play. In Miami, Bautista with that cannon for an arm throws a terrific throw to the plate to gun down the potential winning run. And then the emotions really caught Colombia off guard. They argued the play at the plate. There were some ejections involved after this play, and they just couldn't believe that the call went against him. And you can see Tito Polo actually got thrown out of the game for making contact with the umpire.
Anthony Seymour, after Jaden Rudd took one in the arm, and Rudd is aboard.
Jaden Rudd just gets hit on the back of the arm, so he'll get on to start this inning.
Seymour in the 9 spot, then top of the order with Chavez Young. Cuevas worked a quiet 2 innings so far, gave up a double with 2 outs, and that's it.
You know, you talked to all these players about what has been the most exciting moment for you in this tournament. And I asked Jaden Rudd at first base, I said, what was the best moment for you? He said, hearing the national anthem to start game 1. That was number 1. He said it was such an emotional time. He was born in Great Britain, so it was terrific for him. And then he said, the second thing that meant so much to me was running to my position to start the game. He's 20 years old and has played in the minor leagues with the Blue Jays. And then he said, number 3, they hit off Waino. He got a base hit in his first at bat.
Yeah, Adam Wainwright started that game. It didn't look great. As we said, Great Britain hung around the whole game at 6-2. Of course, tonight, Team USA has less than 24 hours to try to redeem themselves from last night. They take on Canada. Canada is 1-0.
Now, we talk about the speed of Great Britain. They had 5 steals and caught once in that game against Canada, and that was a very questionable out call at third base. With the base runner stealing third, it looked like he had the base stolen, but then on review, he was called out. He was originally called out. They went to review, and the review from me, from my perspective, I thought he was safe. But they didn't have enough evidence to overturn the call on the field.
World Baseball Classic using 2022 rules, so no limit on pickoffs. 2022 mound visit rules as well. Up the middle, Frias got to the bag. And a quick flip to get the double play. Cuevas knows what he's doing.
And so does Frias. Boy, what a slick fielding shortstop. And watch how immediately goes to the bag, steps on the bag, takes it himself, and throws right on the money at first base. And he is in there for his glove, and you can see why. That's a beautiful double play. 6-3 on the double play, and that erases the hit batter.
Matt Koperniak or excuse me, Chavez Young at the plate, and Young takes a swing and a miss. Koperniak's picture is actually up on the scoreboard, Buck, straightaway center field. I was thinking Young, then I saw Koperniak's smiling face.
Yeah, and top of the order here with 2 outs, Chavez Young. He was 0 for 4, but he had 3 stolen bases in that game against Canada. We mentioned he started out his career with the Toronto Blue Jays. He and Bo Bichette are very, very good friends. In fact, a couple of days ago, I asked Chavez, have you talked to Bo? He said, no, but I've talked to his mom, Mariana. So he has been very close with the Bichettes, has spent a lot of time with them.
And he's like some of these other players. He's born in the Bahamas, played his high school ball in Georgia.
Rod Marcelino, the bench coach, having a chat with one of his young players. So Chavez Young, we mentioned his speed, 3 stolen bases in that game against Canada, anxious to get on base here. Fights it off and stays alive.
Young is going to get a shot with the Pirates. Was traded to the Pirates after 6 minor league seasons with the Jays in January for pitcher Zach Thompson. 4 seasons with more than 20 stolen bases, so that's one of his calling cards. And he's a good guy to get on, and with 2 outs, you would expect they're going to start him at some point.
I mentioned Mariana Bichette. She is from Brazil, and because of that, Bo was able to play in the qualifier for Team Brazil a couple of years ago, back in 17.
You and I saw Brazil in Japan, and their manager was really fun to work with. Barry Larkin managed Brazil.
Yeah, Bo didn't play in that tournament, but he had played in the qualifier earlier. Barry Larkin did a good job with that team.
Trace Thompson takes a breaking ball in. This is the guy for Great Britain, for any team playing them here, that is circled on the scouting report with "Don't let him beat you."
And you just wonder if they are going to put the stop sign on with Thompson at first base. Columbia doesn't think so. And it's really a tough spot for a manager. Do you let him run? You give him the green light and trust his judgment if he can get a good jump? You got your best hitter at the plate with 2 outs. Do you take a chance to run into an out? I think they let him run.
It's Villarreal behind home plate. Diaz has the day off so far for Colombia. Young bluffs. Pitch up, throw behind him, and he's back. 2-0.
Villarreal last year with Texas Rangers caught 7 of 15 base stealers. He's got a strong arm. And you can see Young, he had no intention of running. He just put the bluff on, see if he could get some movement on the infield. Going away with a fastball.
Thompson was thinking fastball. Certainly with the throw over to first and the opportunity to steal. Counts 2-1.
39 big league home runs for Trace Thompson.
And the great year with the Dodgers. Well, not a full year, but a half a year last year.
Young was thinking about running there. That was not a fake. He tried to get a good jump and had a pretty decent jump.
So 3-1. Are you sitting fastball?
I don't think you can. I think you just have to pick up the baseball, and you can't look for a heater in this situation.
Not running and not a strike.
A pretty good at bat by Thompson. You would think he's going to expand his zone, thinking I got to do some damage here, but he takes the 2-out walk, back-to-back walks now, and Great Britain has a couple of board. Matt Koperniak, he's looking for his first hit.
Pitching coach visits. Walter Miranda.
Talking both to the pitcher and the catcher. Hey, let's pitch ahead now. And you certainly have to trust your stuff. And Urshela, pat on the back and a little vamos, let's go.
Well, an opportunity for Great Britain. They're behind on the scoreboard, which is not the way the script is run for them in the first 2 games. They took the lead against USA. They took the lead against Canada. Vivas in the bullpen. Great Britain had a 2-out double in the second. Remember, Rudd was hit to start the inning. Cuevas got a double play ball. But you got very good speed with Young at second, Thompson at first. He's got a huge lead.
Yeah, and this is interesting too, because Chavez Young was thinking about running and they bluffed him back, but the pitcher made the pitch to the plate, and now the catcher Villarreal is out to tell the infielder where he's going should there be a double steal attempt. But the runner at first base, Thompson, he's got the ability to get a huge lead. The first baseman, Rodriguez, is almost back to the edge of the grass. So if they do run, I don't know that they're going to be able to throw out the runner going to second. He's got such a big lead, he can get a running start. If Chavez Young can get a walking lead, he might be able to steal a couple here. They're certainly in the head of the pitcher, Cuevas.
And that's the thing. Once Young got to first base, Cuevas certainly paying particular attention to him, and he hasn't found it again since.
Now here's where Koperniak really has to zero in. He's got to focus on getting something he can drive. Don't chase any borderline pitch with the count in your favor.
2-0. That's a strike. Caught the corner. 91
Borderline
miles an hour.
pitch. Yeah, he took the strike, but it wasn't anything he was looking for.
Last year in AA and AAA, Koperniak 14 homers in 108 games. Hit 291, 365 on base. Runner goes from second, not from first. And Young's got a stolen base. Thompson wasn't quite sure.
Well, and two, I think the pitcher did a pretty good job. He gave one look to the second base and he unloads in a hurry, so Thompson he didn't pick up on it. He doesn't break from first, but Chavez Young, who represents the tie run, he's now just 90 feet away. Another stolen base for Chavez Young. Well, he just got a walking lead, and Thompson, I think the pitcher kind of fooled Thompson. He expected him to take one more look at second.
At the corners, and now a 3-1 for Koperniak, and he takes a strike, and that means Thompson will be moving from first base. Koperniak talking to the home plate umpire, Jonathan Biretta.
Boy, it was a borderline pitch for sure. Looked like it might have been ball 4. Well, got to the bottom of the zone.
And plenty of the plate. Big shift for this lefty bat. Left side out by shortstop is wide open. Thompson running, and Koperniak hits a fly ball to left field, hits it pretty well. Ramirez, short of the track, makes the catch. Great Britain's had runners in scoring position in the second and the third, but still no runs. To the fourth, 1-0 Colombia.
When Drew Spencer is not busy trying to shock the baseball world, he is the Executive Experience Design Director at Adam and Eve DDB. That is a very highly esteemed advertising and marketing firm in London, right near Paddington Station. And here are his colleagues enjoying the broadcast on BT Sport 2 this evening, just past 8 p.m. London time. We send our thanks to Simon Adamson and Rachel Garrity, who sent that photo to us. And you can just tell, Rich and Buck, how much support Drew Spencer is getting from his colleagues back there. What a great photo with all that excitement for baseball in London.
Absolutely. Reynaldo Rodriguez, dangerous hitter for Colombia here in the fourth. Tyler Weissep, the Phoenix kid. And a little tapper wide of third. And JP had that great story yesterday, that last game we had with Great Britain, about Drew Spencer and how he got into coaching. All Ivy League, 4 years playing baseball at Dartmouth. Was over in England, was taking his 5-year-old to sign up for T-ball. And the coach, well, the person who was supposed to be the coach admitted to all the parents, I have no idea what I'm doing. I have no baseball experience. Anybody help? Anybody? And reluctantly at first, he raised his hand. But then after a day or two, he was into it. And so he went from the T-ball coach in England to the manager of the Great Britain team in the World Baseball Classic, just like that.
Yeah, and now he is responsible for growing the game in England. And first and foremost, he's got a terrific baseball background. But more importantly, he's a gentleman. He's a class act. I tell you what, he has been so gracious with the media, obviously offering all kinds of information about how they hope to grow baseball in Canada, and UK Sports and the National Lottery are a couple of very supportive organizations, and hopefully one day baseball will become something under the umbrella of Team Great Britain. Team GB is the umbrella that takes care of all the Olympic sporting teams and all of that, and they hope eventually that baseball will come under that Team GB umbrella.
And that's so important, and an unknown factor about countries trying to emerge with baseball is the funding. Do they get funding from their International Sports Federation, from the Olympic Federation? Because part of opening academies and having youth programs and sponsoring teams and having a national junior team and a youth team, you got to have that funding.
Yeah, and you can see there's a T-shirt from the London series when the Red Sox played the Yankees. And, you know, Spencer was telling us how both teams left a lot of equipment over there after that London series, a lot of bats and balls.
Not by mistake.
No. They didn't forget it. They just donated it to the baseball program in Great Britain, and it was very generous of both of those teams. And to be honest, I think they can afford it. Leave a couple bats behind.
Yeah.
I think, too, and you've mentioned how there are different watch parties going on all across the United Kingdom, and you mentioned Belushi's over there, a great place that we suggested maybe Belushi's becomes a sponsor for Team Great Britain.
That's a chain of there's sports bars. That's not the official crown of the club. You know, you don't get the Burger King crown for the home run. They've got a robe and a much better representation of a crown. That ball's pulled foul. This is a really an emotional start for Tyler Visa for a lot of reasons. JP Morosi, a local kid, Desert Vista High School. So this is really special for him. Of course, Visa is family with season tickets. And when he was pitching there in high school here in Phoenix, he had a teammate who's in attendance, right, JP?
Remarkable. Rio Gomez of Team Colombia and Tyler Visa were on the same team at Desert Vista High School, and it's possible, depending on how Colombia's bullpen decisions go, that Rio Gomez could pitch in the same game as his high school teammate.
Well, and part of that, too, is Rio Gomez is the son of the late beloved baseball journalist Pedro Gomez. That's a walk. And we'll take a look at it. Great Britain didn't like it.
Now, a very close pitch, tough to take with 2 strikes, and you can see this looks like it is in the strike zone.
It is.
Right in the bottom of the strike zone, a changeup. And certainly had enough of the plate. We have seen that location called a strike earlier in this game. Boy, I tell you what, that's a tough break. It should have been the second out of the inning.
And a throw over to first. Jordan Diaz had a Matt Diaz flashback there. Jordan Diaz is the hitter. Of course, look, Pedro Gomez, everybody loved him, and they should. He was such a great journalist, great friend, mentor, inspiration, passed away. And Rio, his son, pitched at Arizona. His mom, Sandy, is from Colombia. That's why Rio Gomez is on this team representing Colombia. And there they are, Visa and Rio Gomez.
That's awesome how they can be linked again here in this World Baseball Classic after playing in high school in 2011. And not far away from this ballpark.
No, not at all. Diaz sitting on a 1-0 pitch with a runner in scoring position. The pitch is outside. And JP, his mom Sandy from Colombia, and I'm sure for her that would be a special moment when he walks out and takes the mound.
Oh, indeed. And I had a great chance to catch up with Sandy earlier in the game, and she is here. She has her Colombian flag with her. She's so proud. Certainly, she's thinking of Pedro today, as all of us are, because this event was Pedro Gomez's event in so many ways. He brought these countries together, and to see Sandy here and enjoying and watching Tyler pitch, certainly in some ways supporting Tyler as well, but obviously cheering for Colombia first and foremost. So just a really emotional and special day for the entire Gomez family.
Rio had a good year last year in Double-A too, by the way, with a 3.27 ERA. There they are.
Pedro Gomez Foundation has been set up in his memory, and that's a picture of he and his dad. And you see when he was coming through the Boston organization, and Pedro worked a long time with ESPN. He was always a terrific reporter, a great journalist, and did a lot of wonderful things to advance baseball.
So I'm sure Sandy has a little bit of mixed emotions. She's probably rooting a little bit for Visa there, even though she's Colombia, because they were buddies and high school teammates. But she certainly is repping Colombia. The 2-1 coming. And Visa steps off. He's at 52 pitches. Again, first round pitch limit is 65 for starter or reliever. And Graham Spraker ready to go.
Spraker hasn't pitched in this series so far, and he has pitched as high as AAA, formerly with the Blue Jays, and they're anxious to get him into a game that's close.
Visa misses. 3-1.
Great Britain has used nearly every player on its roster. Visa got his tournament debut out of the way. Chavez, Fernando, Ian Gibault, Graham Spraker, and a right-handed pitcher, Taj Thomas. They're the only ones that haven't participated yet for Great Britain.
Full count now, 3-2. Again, Colombia finds itself in a really good spot. And they win this game, they would be 2-0. They'd still have a couple of big games coming up with Canada and the United States. Canada is in the same spot going into tonight's game. If they were able to knock off USA, then Canada would be 2-0.
Yeah, and Canada has got a real interesting pitcher making the start tonight. Mitch Bratt, a 19-year-old left-hander. It'll be a great time for them. And you know what? Everybody's discounting Canada because they had that great offensive game against Great Britain. But at the same time, sometimes it's difficult to cool off hot bats, no matter who they are. And there was offensive production up and down the order in that game against Great Britain. So, you know what? Just don't sleep on Canada tonight. And Team USA, they haven't really gotten things going yet.
Those guys are already here, ready, right? Flags out, jersey on. 3-2, long at bat here for Jordan Diaz.
Yeah, you know what? If Diaz can reach base, I wouldn't be surprised if they make a pitching change in this situation. Oscar Mercado has the RBI base hit back in the second inning. He's responsible for the only run in this game. He is on deck.
Diaz got to the big league last year with Oakland, 15 games after 5 minor league seasons. He's just 22. That's in. Visa misses, and we'll see how much longer he'll be in there.
Yeah, a couple of close calls didn't go in the favor of Great Britain, but it looks like Spencer's going to stick with him. Checking with his pitching coach right now. What do you think?
Even Mercado was looking into the dugout to see if the pitching change was going to be made.
They've got that pitcher ready down in the bullpen, and Mercado, as we mentioned, had the RBI single his last time up.
Mercado, a high school player in Tampa, fouls it back. In the big leagues last year for 55 games with Cleveland and Philly. Drafted by the Cardinals, traded to Cleveland, claimed by the Phillies once a free agent, and then claimed again by Cleveland, and just signed with the Cardinals. So it's been quite a tour since he was a Cardinal draft pick to go to Cleveland, to Philly, then back to Cleveland, and now the Cardinal organization. In a spot here with runners at first and second and 1 out.
Remember, you got a 20-year-old catcher back behind the plate, and Visa having difficulty getting on the same page with Harry Ford. Big moment for Great Britain here with 1 out. I'd love to get a ground ball, get a double play, and get out of the inning. Again, that's not what I want. Go talk about it. Call timeout. You've got plenty of time. This is a pivotal point of the ball game.
Even Mercado, the hitter, actually glancing out at the pitcher, saying, "Come on, pick a number."
Visa had a particular pitch on his mind, and Ford never got to it.
No pitch com. in the World Baseball Classic. And obviously with the runner at second, it's a sequence of signs.
A good pitch. He ran that fastball up and in and got Mercado to swing right through it. Once again, the walks playing into the offense for Colombia. 3 walks in the game so far, 2 back-to-back with 1 out here in the 4th. They've set up this opportunity.
Shook off the first.
Off-speed pitch. He was out in front of him.
It's still 1-2.
You know, there's always a lot of discussion about game calling. You know, who is in charge? You got a young catcher. For me, 17 years as a catcher in the big leagues, it's always about what the pitcher wants to throw, because you have to have him throw with conviction, no matter what the pitch is. You would rather have him throw the wrong pitch with conviction than the right pitch with doubt.
One, two. It's in the air and out of play. That also involved in this is that catchers coming through the minor leagues, part of their development is learning pitch calling and is learning to call a game.
No question about it, but at the same time, nowadays, so many game plans are scripted for catchers and they don't have a chance to call a game with feel. Well, you got to throw this guy this pitch because that's his weakness. And what if the pitcher doesn't have that pitch on a given day? You've got to give a catcher the ability to kind of change things on the fly. Give him an opportunity to get a sense of feel and how to call a game.
Fastball is up.
You know, I mean, you can have a game plan, and you see it every day in the big leagues. They've got the cheat sheet on their wristband. The pitcher's got a cheat sheet in his hat. Everybody is like, nobody can think for themselves. Everybody has to be programmed before they take the field. And I think the art of game calling has been kind of lost.
This is the 64th pitch. The limit's 65. He can finish the hitter. And that misses low. And they count now 3-2. So 65 the limit, but if you're in the middle of an at-bat, you can finish that at-bat.
You can see Vaza didn't necessarily want to talk things over with his catcher. He was just tucking his shirt back in his pants. And then Ford took a chance to go to the mound to talk about this next pitch. Obviously, 3-2 count with 1 out. You want to make sure you're on the same page. And in this situation, you might not even give him a sign. Just say, okay, here's what I want to throw. Don't give me a sign. No sign.
Yep, you're right. Runners on the move. And that's the last pitch that he will throw in this World Baseball Classic. He's hit the limit and the at-bat is finished. And Mercado walks. And now Colombia is set up with the bags loaded.
3 walks after the first batter was retired, and that is very costly, and that's been all too familiar for Drew Spencer, the skipper. He's got to take the ball from Vaza as he hit his pitch limit here. 3 walks in the inning, and has set up the Colombia team with the bases loaded and 1 out.
Number 9 hitter, Diane Frias, the switch hitter, who's 0 for 5 in the Classic, will be the hitter. Great Britain call to the bullpen. Back to Phoenix after this. Through the years, not a huge number of players, but certainly a growing list. Out of Colombia, Hobert Cabrera with the Mariners. Orlando Cabrera, Gold Glover, world champion. Edgar Renteria, 2-time world champion. World Series MVP with the Giants. Scored or drove in that winning run in the '97 series for the Fish. Graham Spraker out of the bullpen gets strike one. Tyler Viza watching from the dugout, left with the bags loaded and one out. The infield is back. Sweeney and Seymour up the middle looking for two. Spraker, the Green Bay, Wisconsin native.
Yeah, and Spraker was a 31st round pick of the Blue Jays back in 2017, and he had a very good year in Double-A in 21 when he averaged over 13 strikeouts per 9 innings. So a strikeout would be very, very sweet right here for Great Britain.
Pitched in Triple-A last year.
He got released by the Blue Jays from Buffalo second half of the season, but he's been a prospect. He's been in the Arizona Fall League twice pitching for the Blue Jays, and he's got a big arm.
Needs to get a ground ball or an out here. And he pulls that one inside again. And now the count is 3-1. 3 consecutive walks, all given up by Viza.
And it's really difficult to give those walks out bottom of the order in this lineup. And now they're pitching to the number 9 hitter, and they're behind.
.95. That's the live arm that he's got.
Yeah, we mentioned this is his first appearance, and he has inherited a sticky situation.
Big pitch here. Full count, one out. Bags loaded. A 1-0 Columbia lead. Spraker. Lined into right field. That's a base hit. Villarreal will score. Diaz will score. And Columbia has a 3-0 lead.
Very difficult to walk 3 after 1 out and keep them from scoring. Fria's first hit of the tournament is a big one as he delivers a 2-run single into right field. Frias scores, Diaz scores, and it's a high fastball. 3-1 count. He's sitting fastball. Number 9 hitter comes up with a big hit. Chavez Young looks like he's going to throw to third and then double clutches, and by the time he throws it toward home, it's much too late. I don't know if he expected the runner to get a better break from second, but he certainly had a shot if he comes up directly and throws toward home plate.
Campero, the right fielder. Foul ball, it's 0-1.
Well, 16 walks issued by Great Britain against Canada, and now 4 walks have proved costly once again. 3 in this inning, and 2 have already come in to score. Mercado was walked. He's at second base in scoring position now.
That matchup to begin the World Baseball Classic between Colombia and Mexico. People were talking about that game for a while because of the Colombian starter and the fact that they thought they were going to have Jose Quintana in that game against Julio Urias. And Quintana, with a rib injury, is not here. There's a pop-up and a foul ball. And we talked about that going into that game, that, you know what, if Colombia could beat Mexico without Quintana starting, then the rest of the tournament, it doesn't matter that he's not here because he was only going to pitch once. And of course, Urias was perfect, and he was just dealing until he wasn't. And then all of a sudden, Colombia jumped out and got to him. Rodriguez with a 2-run homer. They got 3 runs off of him.
Yeah, the starter in that game was Nabil Crismat. You just saw him with Alfaro on the bench, and he did a pretty good job. 1 run on 3 hits over 4 innings of work, starting in place of Quintana.
And that's why Colombia is in a really interesting spot here. They hold the head-to-head tiebreak against Mexico. Mexico holds the head-to-head tiebreak with USA. Canada's 1-0, and they play USA tonight.
As Breaker, we mentioned his good velocity. He's been up to 95 in this inning, but he's also had issues with walks. Last year, Buffalo had 25 walks and 37 in the third innings. Yeah, he had 44 strikeouts, but too many walks.
Big lead at second. Strike 3 called. Campero thought it was in. Spraker gets a much needed strikeout.
Boy, good movement on this fastball. Takes it over the inside corner. That's a four-seam fastball that had a lot of run. And we mentioned his velocity. It's pretty good. He catches the top of that zone. Four-seamer at 93.
Now Ramirez, left fielder, in the 2 spot. Something I just realized with that last strikeout. The fans behind home plate today are not the same fans as last night. Last night was really a kick. Everybody in that section behind home plate was mimicking, and then with a strikeout, all were striking out the hitters together. Charging is Sweeney, drops it, throws it. It's picked by Ward. And a big play to get out of the inning that almost went sideways on Great Britain. 2 runs, 2 walks that scored, and of course, Frias, the 2-run single, and Colombia has stretched their lead. Now 3-0. Headed to the bottom of the 4th. 3 runs, 3 hits, Colombia. No runs, a hit, an error for Great Britain. Harry Ford. Line drive out to right in the 2nd. Nick Ward, B.J. Murray. William Cuevas went the first 3, and Ford lines one into left field. That's a base hit. His 2nd hit. Let's meet Harry Ford, right? A little more info on this guy.
Well, you can see he was drafted in 2021, 12th overall pick by the Mariners out of Georgia. He was a high school player, a #1 prospect in the organization, according to MLB Pipeline. Rob Power, we saw that. He hit the 3-run home run against Team Canada. Uses the whole field, and he's got a pretty good eye at the plate as well. He got a hanging breaking ball there and picks up his 2nd hit of the tournament.
Athletic catcher, can run. Ward with a fly ball out, his first time up. And Julio Vivas in relief, misses outside. JP Morosi, you've got more on Harry Ford.
He's an alum of the MLB Dream Series, an extraordinary program founded by MLB to provide a really high-level developmental opportunity for players from diverse backgrounds. Certainly Jerry Manuel from Team USA's coaching staff works with that program, as does Lou Collier as well. So certainly a proud day for MLB's development program to have Harry Ford playing such a prominent role for Team Great Britain.
Gotcha, JP. Vivas had been up in the bullpen, and thought I had heard on the speaker he was coming in to pitch, but this is still Cuevas. Vivas isn't far behind. He's at 51 pitches.
Yeah, he's been fairly economical pitching here into the 4th inning, and he's pitching with a 3-0 lead now.
Ford leaning a bit at first. And that one fouled back. Opportunities for Great Britain in the 3rd. A hit batter erased by a double play, then a couple walks and a stolen base. But Matt Koperniak hit a fly ball out. The 2-out double in the 2nd by B.J. Murray. And that was back in the 2nd. Darnell Sweeney bounced out to end that inning.
Pretty good take by Ward there to run the count to a 3-2 count now. And, you know, you just got to be patient and make sure that you don't chase a lot of borderline pitches. They have drawn a couple of walks, as Rich mentioned. They had a hit batter and 2 walks last inning, but couldn't cross home plate. Double play factored in as Seymour, number 9 hitter, hit into a double play.
Turned on foul. Whoa! It's all right. Part of the game. You get knocked over, get back up, make a play. Knock it down, make a play, Buck.
Yeah, he got out there quickly, but it looks like the ball dudes in San Francisco, where the older gentlemen are the ball boys down the line. You can see that rocked him back on his heels, and he ends up on his backside.
Somebody get Perry Hill on the line. Get him a quick tutorial on the fine art of infield play. That's a walk, and here's another opportunity for Great Britain. Again, they weren't blown out by USA. They lost that game 6-2. Holbert Cabrera comes out. And I think now we're going to see Julio Vivas.
Yeah, Cabrera's already made the call to the bullpen, and going to take a pitching change here as Great Britain threatening to get on board here.
So 3 innings, he leaves with 2 on and a 3-0 lead. Right now 3-0, Colombia on top, bottom of the 4th inning. And for Colombia, sometimes you don't have to get a base hit to get a run. When Great Britain has made mistakes in this classic, it has cost them. It certainly cost them early in this ball game. This, a 2-run single by Diane Frias, the number 9 hitting shortstop. Now that's the real Pool C right there.
Yeah, lots of opportunities for Colombia, and Great Britain. They extend their opponents too many extra opportunities. Julio Vivas, who originally signed with the Pirates way back in 2011, last year in an independent league, not into 30 games.
B.J. Murray is the hitter, takes the strike. He lined one in the gap in left center for a double. That was in the 2nd. Great Britain has just 2 hits. Ford at second. You see Ward at first. And the pickoff throw. And Harry Ford is going to get up and scamper into third.
Well, I tell you what, to me, that's an ill-advised pickoff attempt right there. There was not the great opportunity to pick anybody off, and you just kind of given the Great Britain team an extra opportunity to take advantage of the mistake. The ball went off the shortstop's glove. You know, there's not that big a gap there. They put a pickoff play on, and it cost them 90 feet. And you can see how wide the throw was. Frias just barely tipped it, and Ford's able to move over.
Chance to get on the board now. There's nobody out. Ward's at first. Murray is 2 for 7 with a double in this series. And Vivas buries that one. It's a ball and a strike.
B.J. Murray, the hitter, had an opposite field double with 2 outs back in the 2nd on a fastball away from him. And he's got to think about that same approach. What you want to do in this situation with 1st and 3rd, nobody out, you want to avoid pulling the ball on the ground to the right side. Stay up the middle, go the other way. Even if you hit a ground ball toward the shortstop, it's a much more difficult play to turn 2 on. You don't want to pull a ball in this situation. I mean, if you hit it toward the shortstop and he's got to field it, chances are the second baseman can't get to the bag for that force out at second. See how far away from second Jordan Diaz is, the second baseman. So if I'm the hitter right now, I got to look at the defense and say I got to stay up the middle or to the opposite field.
Swings over a breaking ball. Count is 2 balls and 2 strikes. The release point on that.
And that pitch is in the upper 70s, not a whole lot of velocity. Another look at the defense. Got to take advantage of this opportunity if you're Great Britain.
Drives that ball to left field. Ramirez back. Ford tags. He's going to score. Great Britain is on the board. And it's 3-1.
Now that error by the pitcher allowed Harry Ford to move over to third, and he scores on the sac fly. Murray's had 2 good at-bats so far in this game. Get one of those runs back.
If you're Great Britain and you've lost the first 2, there's plenty of inspiration if you look at the other pools and some of the other countries that were in Great Britain's position 10, 15 years ago, and some of the things they've accomplished.
The Netherlands. This year, the Aussies, they have gotten out of the first pool. Italy has advanced. Israel, back in 17, they made it into the second round. And there's growth all around the world in baseball programs. And, you know, Great Britain, this is the first time they've played in this tournament. And they're going to improve because of this experience.
And I think part of that improvement, as Sweeney takes ball 1, is going to be the continued development of baseball in the Bahamas. Jazz Chisholm is right now the face of baseball in the Bahamas, the exciting player for the Miami Marlins. Lucius Fox from the Bahamas.
Lucius Fox has organized a home run derby that has taken place in the offseason, and Bo Bichette actually participated in that home run derby, and it's kind of cool because they do it on the beach and they hit the ball into the ocean. Pretty cool experience for a lot of the younger players, and Chavez Young, he has been involved in that. But you're right, that's one of the ways they're going to build baseball for the UK.
Little tapper. The template that Drew Spencer talked about was actually Germany, and developing a guy like Max Kepler with the academies and youth programs. The Netherlands also very similar.
Well, when you think about the history of players in the big leagues from the Bahamas, Ed Armbrister that played in the big leagues for a long time.
I didn't expect to see his name on that list.
Yeah. Andre Rogers, great infielder with the San Francisco Giants for a number of years. Started out actually in the New York Giants system, and that's a big walk drawn by Darnell Sweeney. Lucius Fox we mentioned. Antoine Richardson, who's coach on this team. 4 years in the big leagues, and you know what? Jazz Chisholm, you mentioned his success, and now he's moving to center field.
He is, and had Chisholm not been moving to center field, there's a possibility he would be on this team. But the Marlins are moving him from the infield to the outfield. And a pitching visit here for Colombia. Colombia built a 3-0 lead. Great Britain has a run here, and they're threatening with more. And they got their youngest player, Jaden Rudd, at the plate.
Pretty animated conversation from the pitching coach, Walter Miranda. Miranda is the pitching coordinator for the Boston Red Sox. As you look at their bullpen.
Yapson Gomez.
Yeah, he was pretty animated. Hey, be aggressive. Set the tone. Throw strike one. Get ahead. Great message delivered. A couple of walks in this inning.
We had that discussion before this game. What would Colombia look like after that emotional and somewhat of an upset win over Mexico, a day off, and now heavily favored here against Great Britain? Do they come out flat? Do they put 10 runs up and end it early? And it's right now just 3-1.
Boy, what a big opportunity for 20-year-old Jaden Rudd. He was hit by a pitch in his first at bat. He's already picked up a hit in this WBC.
One-0.
Good cut. He hit a home run against Spain in the qualifier in Germany, and as he was going around the bases, the only thing he could think about was, please don't miss any base. That was a game-tying home run late in the game in that final game of the qualifier as Great Britain swept all 3 games. But he hit a big home run for Great Britain. He, like Harry Ford, just 20 years old in the Blue Jay system.
The inning started with William Cuevas, the starting pitcher, who gave up a hit, a walk, then got yanked. B.J. Murray against Vivas, a sacrifice fly. Darnell Sweeney has walked. With Nick Ward at second, Sweeney's at first. This is the bottom of the order for Great Britain. That is way outside. And it's 2-2. Canada, USA tonight. No swing.
Well, how about that take? Borderline pitch inside. Big moment in this ball game for Jaden Rudd, and he checks his swing. Well, that was pretty close. That could have gone either way. But he gets benefit of the doubt as he checks his swing on that off-speed pitch.
Pitch that may have caught the bottom of the zone as well. 3-2. It's down, and now they're loaded.
Five walks issued by Colombia. We're going to have a pitching change here as Vivas. He faced 3 batters, and the 3-batter rule is in play in this WBC, so they will have a pitching change. Sac fly and a couple of walks, and that's it.
Appropriate song for a pitching change. 3-1 Colombia. World Baseball Classic. This is day 3. Later on tonight, Canada, United States. That's a huge game for both. Canada's 1-0. The United States is 1-1. And then tomorrow, Canada's right back at it. Quick turnaround. And they get Colombia tomorrow at noon. And it's Mexico against Great Britain tomorrow night. Into the pool in Pool A. Wow, I don't think anybody, especially with a 5-way tie, expected Italy to advance. And Cuba, especially, they went 0-2 to start. The Aussies, what a great story. They joined Japan in advancing. And in Pool C, Colombia trying to keep a perfect record. Yapson Gomez delivers ball 1.
Originally signed by the Cubs back in 2013. He pitched 7 minor league seasons with the Cubs and Cleveland. Spent last year pitching in the Mexican League for Veracruz.
Anthony Seymour, switch hitter, bags loaded. Big moment for Great Britain. And the count's 1-1.
Seymour grounded into a double play his last time out. That came batting as a left-handed hitter. So he turns around now with a chance to even the score here.
See the runners, Ward, Sweeney, and Rudd. Infield looking for a ground ball. Seymour behind in the count, 1-2. Seymour bounced into a double play back in the 3rd. Gomez 1-2. Got him.
Good breaking ball right there as Seymour swings over the top of it. Second out of the inning. Columbia's not out of the woods yet. The ball break down and in. He swings right over the top of it. Very slow, big sweeping slider.
Now Young, the switch hitting leadoff man. You got a better hitter up now, but there's 2 outs. Young is 2 for 6 here in Phoenix with 3 walks. He fouls that pitch back. He is also a switch hitter.
It looked like he clipped the catcher with his follow through. And a stolen base earlier. Boy, big opportunity for Chavez Young. He was traded in the offseason for Zach Thompson to the Pittsburgh Pirates. Thompson, a right-handed pitcher. Chavez Young getting an opportunity in another organization. Went from the Blue Jays to Pittsburgh.
The outfield not playing very deep at all, especially in center with Mercado. Third pitcher of the inning for Colombia. Got in on his hands. A little backswing. He said, hey, I'm good.
Yeah, and generally that'll happen on off-speed pitches where the hitter gets out in front and follows through with a wide backswing, and he caught the back of the catcher wearing that hockey-style mask, and that has been a big breakthrough for catchers' safety for sure.
Interesting how hockey players never wear a baseball-style mask.
Very interesting.
Understandable too.
I think the puck would go through that slot, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Need a few more bars there. 0-2. Now they count 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Coming into this game, Great Britain was 5 for 19 with runners in scoring position. So far this afternoon, they're 0 for 3. They've stranded 3, and they've got the bases loaded now. They need a big hit.
Yapson Gomez has a few gyrations on the mound before he gets ready to go. It's almost a left-handed Craig Kimbrell there. One, 2. Ground ball, base hit into left field. A run scores. 2 will score. And Great Britain has tied this game. Into second is Young. Ward and Sweeney come across. A little cup of tea in the afternoon, and a 3-3 game.
Boy, a huge 2-out base hit as Chavez Young, one of their more experienced players, comes through with a bouncing ball base hit through the left side. Harold Ramirez kicked the ball around after he got to it, allows the runners to move up. It's another breaking ball, and Young stays with it, pulls it through the left side. 2 runs come in. Ward comes in from third. Behind him is Sweeney. And when Ramirez booted it, the runners move up. So now there are 2 more runners in scoring position.
Well, now there's 3 because they just intentionally walked Trace Thompson, which is probably a wise thing to do. And here we are with Koperniak up in another big spot. I like that. The cup of tea, that's the Great Britain celebration for a double or a play on the field. They save the crown and robe for home runs. Koperniak came up with runners at the corners in the third and flied out.
This is interesting because earlier in this series, Drew Spencer would pinch hit in this situation. But he said, you know, I did that twice, both with Koperniak and Rugg, and I end up late in the game with 2 of my better hitters out of the game. So he's going to stick with him here. It's still just the 4th inning. So that's why he's leaving him there against the lefty.
That's a strike. It's really hard in the World Baseball Classic to play lefty-righty matchup for a manager because there's so many pitching changes. I mean, if you start doing that in the 3rd or the 4th inning, you get to the 7th or the 8th when you really need some mobility and you don't have it. Koperniak pounds one on the ground to first. Rodriguez gets to the bag. It wasn't pretty. There were 3 walks, but Great Britain scratches out 2 runs. Chavez Young, his 3rd hit of the Classic, and it's a big one.
Gio Urshela, a hero for Team Colombia often and also in the 2020 Wild Card Series. This was a lead-changing home run for the Yankees in Cleveland, his former team, of course, and the Yankees went on to win that series in advance before being knocked out by Randy Arozarena and the Tampa Bay Rays.
Randy Arozarena is the common thread throughout this Pool C, I think. Nice work, JP. So this is the heart of the order for Colombia. We'll see if they can answer the 2 runs by the Brits. Gio Urshela, Jorge Alfaro, Reynaldo Rodriguez. Graham Spraker still in there for Great Britain, just the 2nd pitcher of the day for them. There is the Gio Urshela fan club.
Blue Jays uni, as he really came into his own once he got to New York. That happened in 2019 when he first got an extended opportunity to play every day. It was the first time he had more than 267 at-bats in his career. He had a career high at that point of 442 at-bats.
High chopper. Murray sweeps it up, spins around, and gets Urshela. That's a heck of a play by B.J. Murray, and the fan club's not happy.
I tell you what, he played a little Urshela on Urshela. Urshela, a terrific defender. Nice grab by Murray, and then he throws quickly on the run. I think what we saw early in the series from the infield of Great Britain was they were fooled by the speed of the base runners. There were a couple times when routine ground balls, they just took too much time, and they got burned a couple of times. Now they have turned up their inner clock, and he unloaded in a hurry to retire Urshela.
If Great Britain can just clean themselves up defensively, those are the little margins that Drew Spencer has preached to his ball club about. Catch the ball, make the plays, get the outs. Alfaro, 2 doubles in game 1. They win over Mexico in 10 innings.
Well, it's interesting how Colombia has allowed Great Britain to come back in this game. They scored 3 runs in the 4th inning. The pitcher made a throwing error. There were 4 walks in the inning, and you just extended Great Britain too many opportunities.
Right field, Young over there, and he makes the catch. Wow. Have an inning.
A terrific play by Chavez Young in foul territory. He stayed with it and made a sliding catch into foul territory. And then he went over and celebrated with a fan. Good concentration right there. That catch takes him into foul ground. He said, "How am I doing, young man? How am I doing?" Terrific. Boy, he's got a lot of emotion, a lot of flair, obviously, and he came up with a big hit. He's the one that has really reminded his teammates, hey, we got to play for 27 outs. You can't just sit back and say, okay, well, I had a hit in the first and that. You got to focus for 9 innings. And he's pretty focused right now.
And again, we can't undersell the impact a win for Great Britain would have in the World Baseball Classic, both financially and psychologically. And, I mean, just, it would mean so much. Added funding for the program.
Extra interest over in Great Britain.
Absolutely. You catch the interest of those 5-year-old T-ballers. And the youth programs get more funding. That's how you get the ball rolling. Rodriguez is 0 for 2. I mean, it would be a massive upset, but that's part of the charm of the World Baseball Classic.
Absolutely it is. I mean, that's exactly, and you know what? Team Mexico did it last night. I think nobody expected them to boat race Team USA, and it almost got to a point where it was a mercy rule situation late in the game.
Yeah. Pop up. That's on shallow right. Seymour is there and makes the catch. Graham Spraker. That's a shutdown inning.
Tie game, rising star Harry Ford at the plate, and so much at stake for Great Britain. When you consider the overall picture here, one game can go a long distance toward qualifying you for the next World Baseball Classic, which notably, Rich, is in 2026. And when you know that you're in the next Classic, the funding, the excitement, the infrastructure to grow your sport is there as well. A larger story certainly at play here at Chase Field this afternoon.
Would be a great story. Cool music, too, with that as well. And Great Britain, who hung in there against USA, was competitive early against Canada here, and you got Harry Ford at the plate leading off bottom of the 5th. 3-3 with Colombia.
There's so many connections between these teams. We've talked about the starter for Great Britain being a high school teammate of Rio Gomez, who's pitching for Colombia. Graham Spraker, the pitcher in the game for Great Britain. He and Chavez Young have been teammates in the Blue Jays system since 2017. They started out in Bluefield, and they have just moved up the ladder together, and they were teammates last year in Buffalo. Now here they are, united in the World Baseball Classic.
It was Ford's single in the 4th that started the 3-run inning, as Great Britain chewed through 3 pitchers, drew 3 walks, had a sac fly, and the Young single that knocked in 2.
And again, you're seeing these young players for Great Britain a little more patient, a little more calm. They're playing in their 3rd game. They take borderline pitches now. They have calmed the nerves.
Well, I think the nerves are across the diamond, because now the pressure on Colombia is starting to mount. They're supposed to win this game. They're supposed to be 2-0 when this is done. That one is fouled off. You take down Mexico with a big upset like they had, and you're sitting at 1-0. Holbert Cabrera, Orlando Cabrera, Edgar Renteria, that whole coaching staff, they know they have a great opportunity to advance, or at least a good start towards that.
And they still have Canada and Team USA on their schedule to round out this tournament. This is only their 2nd game, obviously.
A little leg shake there. Into center field, Mercado makes the catch.
Right out of the Nestor Cortez playbook. Nestor Cortez Jr., a great starter for the Yankees. He'll mix up his delivery and right in. It was interesting.
All right, this is not Johnny Cueto, but I mean, he gives a little bit of everything on the mound. Watch this. Yeah, give it. How about a little leg kick? A little shake.
Nestor Cortez Jr. will do that a lot for the Yankees. Yeah. He will change up his timing. I mean, this guy is pretty animated. Yapson Gomez in his 2nd inning of work.
He's got the sweet glove. It almost matches his cap. Dick Ward is walked and flied out.
A good idea by Nick Ward. Shortened up, showed bunt. They're playing him to shift, and that's going to draw Gio Urshela, the 3rd baseman, in a little bit closer at 3rd. Even with 1 out, go ahead and take a shot. Get on base. Make something happen.
He's got a 2-0 pitch here. That's smoked in the gap, right center. Campero cuts it off, and Ward will hold at first base. They were shifting him, and there's Mom. She's gone to the big bag of popcorn. She's been sitting on the edge of her seat the whole afternoon.
Good at bat by Nick Ward, and he hangs in there against the lefty. And look at the effort. He's thinking, if there's a bobble in the outfield, I could end up at second base. That's the way you run the bases.
I hope Dan didn't miss that, because it looked like he just got back to his seat. I'm sure he was he may be one of those dads where during the at-bat, you can't sit still. You got to pace a little bit.
Yeah, my wife did that for 17 years. She never watched me hit. I guess it was pretty disgusting watching me hit.
that may have been the reason, not the nerves.
She used to wander around whenever I'd come up to the plate. I can't watch. Neither could I.
Gomez misses outside.
Murray's had a couple of good at-bats here. He doubled batting left-handed and had a sac fly batting left-handed. Now he turns around for the first time. There are 4 switch hitters in this lineup for Great Britain.
Had that slick ground ball pickup as well. Fastball up and in. Counts 1-2.
Yeah, and as we talked about hitting, how they have calmed down playing in their 3rd game now. The same is true with their defense. They've slowed the game down a little bit. It sped up on them early in this tournament.
Fouled at the plate. Australia advancing is really a kick to see. They've come close. They continue to improve. No question, Japan is the favorite. They're 4-0 in that next round, and of course it's one and done after pool play.
Dave Nielsen is the manager for the Australian team. Of course, he's a former Major League catcher. Played for the Brewers from 92 to 99 and reached an All-Star game in 1999. First Aussie to appear in a Major League All-Star game. So he is the manager. Graham Lloyd, former relief pitcher, he's also on that coaching staff. Started out his career with the Blue Jays and pitched in New York, of course. Big left-handed reliever.
Busted bat. Urshela looks at second, flips to first.
Boy, Murray really got jammed. You can see the remnants of that at bat there at home plate, a broken bat. That ball got right in on his fists.
Let's check in with JP Morosi. JP?
Nick Ward, quite a last year. He played for the Washington Wild Things of the Frontier League. That's an MLB partner league. He then played for Adelaide of the Australian Baseball League. In the midst of all that, signs a minor league deal with his hometown Phillies. When I was speaking with Claire and Dan Ward, I said, how many days was Nick actually back home in Pennsylvania during the offseason? They said his offseason lasted about 10 days between Australia and coming to play in the World Baseball Classic.
While you're trying to get to the big leagues, you go anywhere you can to further your career, and I admire Nick Ward. You know, I played 6 years of winter ball after I got to the big leagues. I was never an everyday player, so I had to make up for those at-bats in winter ball. I played 4 years in Puerto Rico, 2 years in Venezuela. So you just go wherever you can to further your career, and I applaud Nick Ward for his commitment to his career.
Darnell Sweeney was walked intentionally. And this is Jaden Rudd, who's been hit by a pitch and has walked in a big spot with 2 outs and runners first and second. And Rudd swings and fouls it.
Remember that we had made the point that the manager, Drew Spencer, wasn't going to switch and pinch hit for either Koperniak or Rudd early in this game. He said, I got to keep those two guys in there. And he was quick to make the platoon switch earlier in this series. Not the case today.
Just missed.
I tell you what, I've been impressed with Rudd and his growth in this tournament. He had a base hit against Adam Wainwright. Wainwright, twice as old as Rudd, and he gets a base hit in his first appearance in the World Baseball Classic against Adam Wainwright.
One. In the dirt, both runners going to move up. And now, if Rudd can somehow knock this into the outfield, Great Britain could pick up a couple of runs.
Well, Rich, you made a great point how the pressure has dramatically shifted across the diamond. He really squared it out, but again, catching on one knee, that ball carobs too far to his right, and the runners move up. And all of a sudden, Colombia's in a jam.
Two and one to Rudd. Infield playing him pretty much straight up, not much of a shift at all, and the outfield shallow. He hits one hard into left field. That's a base hit. Scoring is Ward. Scoring is Sweeney. Rudd to second. Got the double. 5-3 Great Britain.
Just keep on playing. You never know what might happen, and what a great at bat for a 20-year-old. He stayed on the lefty and got it by one of the best fielding third basemen in all of baseball, Gio Urshela. With 2 outs, he comes up with the biggest hit to this point for Great Britain. A 20-year-old Blue Jays minor leaguer stays on the fastball. What a beautiful swing. And he's rewarded with 2 RBIs, and he's given Great Britain the lead. And just for good measure, he ends up at second, running all the way from home, gets himself into scoring position.
Seymour, the 9-hitter, the switch hitter now. And it's 0-1.
Well, and I got to bring it up again. Drew Spencer, the manager, he's in his first Classic as well. And he knew that he had to be patient with Koperniak and Rudd and stick with him. And he's rewarded for his judgment.
Yeah, early hooks in other games, and then late inning situations where he wished he had that hitter still in the lineup. Slow ground ball. Diaz to his left, fires to first in time to get the out. But Great Britain with 3 in the 4th and 2 here in the 5th, on top of the heavily favored Colombian team. It's 5-3. Twenty-year-old Jaden Rudd is trying to keep from hyperventilating right now. You can see the deep breaths, both in the dugout and in left field, and a hug from his manager and teammates. What a huge hit, and that has put Great Britain on top. 5-3, 6th inning.
Wouldn't you like to have a heart monitor on him right now? See how that heart's pounding? What a terrific opportunity, a great moment for a 20-year-old Jaden Rudd.
Graham Spraker continues on. And Spraker falls behind. Mabry's Villarreal, Colombia's catcher.
Graham Spraker came in and did a terrific job to get out of it. He gave up a 2-run base hit to Diane Frias, the first batter he faced, but then he settled down and he's retired 5 in a row since. And Richie made a great point about pitch count is out the door right now. You don't worry about saving any pitches. Graham Spraker can pitch as long as he can and as long as he's effective.
Yeah, they've got other arms that are getting loose. Right now, this is Great Britain's opportunity. They have a lead. It's the 6th inning. The best arms that they have are going to pitch. And pitch count, rest of this classic, forget about that. You got to, I mean, you really have to go all out with everybody to try to protect this lead and get this win. And there's out number 1 of the 6th inning.
Well, this Spraker has now set down 6 in a row. He pitched in AAA, and the Blue Jays released him. And you see all the scouts here. There's a lot of scouts in attendance, and they're looking for guys like Spraker, guys that have been released by their organization. Or Zuniga, the big reliever for Colombia, who throws 100 miles an hour. And they're all getting their eyes on these players that they might not have seen in the past. And now they get an opportunity to see them in a good atmosphere, a very competitive situation. Everybody making notes saying, remember, how about this Rudd kid? He's 20 years old and hasn't left the Florida Complex League yet. He's played 2 seasons in the Blue Jays minor league system, and that's the entire contingent of Major League scouts here, making sure they don't miss any talent that might not be established or recognized in this tournament.
Diaz fouls this pitch out. Yordan Diaz.
Well, we mentioned Spraker was released by the Blue Jays from Buffalo last year. He and Chavez Young have been teammates going back to 2017. They were both playing in Bluefield, West Virginia together as teenagers.
High chopper. Seymour backing up on the outfield grass. Throws to first. There's a bounce in the step right now, and you can see it and feel it for Great Britain. Defense has sharpened up. They've got the lead. Spraker is dealing right now. And there's 2 outs here in the 6th.
They've played much better in the field. They've taken some walks. They've come up with clutch hits. Young made a terrific sliding catch into foul ground to take a hit away from Jorge Alfaro. And Jaden Rudd with a big 2-out, 2-run double.
Mercado now.
In talking to the players of Great Britain, I said, what have you guys learned about yourselves in the first 2 games? Well, we learned that we can play with these guys. We just have to eliminate mistakes. And anything can happen when you're playing a 1-game situation. You play Colombia once in the tournament. You play Team USA once in the tournament. Yeah, if you were playing USA over a 7, 8, 10 game series, USA would dominate you. There's no question about it. But for 9 innings, you never know.
You never know. Joaquin Andujar making an appearance in the World Baseball Classic.
It sums it up in 2 words. You never know.
And that's, you know, I mean, look, watching this USA team, that's a lesson that you sometimes have to learn. It's, you know, it gets on you quickly. Mark DeRosa was talking about that before we started the World Baseball Classic. And teams learn that. We'll see how they bounce back tonight against Canada. Roof is closed, and by the way, the reason the roof is closed with great weather here in Phoenix is Major League Baseball wants the conditions for every game to be the same. Check swing, went around, struck him out. 1, 2, 3. How about this? Great Britain. Just happy to be here. A 5-3 lead over Colombia into the 7th.
The Netherlands 90 feet away from Miami. Ground ball off the glove of Ibar. They did it. They win it. Down goes the Dominican.
one of the great upsets in World Baseball Classic history. And having watched it and called it, I still don't believe it. As the Great Britain team, massive underdogs in every game they're playing in this World Baseball Classic, have a 5-3 lead in the bottom of the sixth. Jacier Herrera in for Colombia. And Chavez Young, the leadoff man, hits a sharp one hopper. Jordan Diaz on to first.
Yeah, and you mentioned the Netherlands, and that kind of propelled them to future success in the World Baseball Classic. And there's so many big leaders that come from the Netherlands Antilles, Curaçao, Bonaire, and Aruba. And, you know, Xander Bogaerts just signed a terrific contract with the San Diego Padres, and he committed once again to play in the World Baseball Classic for Team Netherlands. But
that was, 2009 was before any of that.
Right.
Before Bogaerts. They had Scope, but it was the older brother, Charlin Scope, not Jonathan Scope. There was no Didi Gregorius there.
Yeah. Jonathan Profar. And
Jerkson Profar. He wasn't there either.
No.
They had Randall Simon.
Kenley Jansen was the catcher.
And his name was pronounced Kenley Jansen at the time. He changed it when he got to the big leagues. Rick Vandenherk was a back of the rotation guy for the Marlins. He pitched on that team, a swing and a miss. Bert Blyleven was the pitching coach. He's been really good for that team. And the real kick was Jim Cott, because Jim Cott was one of the announcers, and he would say, "You ain't much if you ain't Dutch."
Now, Kenley Jansen was a catcher on a Dominican with a rifle arm, and certainly he turned that rifle arm into a big league closer's role.
And that throw there was game one. They had to beat them twice. That ended the first game. There was an off day, and the Dominican team decided to get on a jet, go home, and have a party, and then came back to play again, figuring, we got this. And that was a roster as big as Team USA is this year, and all the MVPs and all of that. I'll put that roster in 2009 of the Dominican Republic up against Team USA's.
Yeah, they just had so many great players. The Dominican Republic at that point had a terrific team, and they would finish up in that pool 1-2 and knocked out of the pool.
2 outs here and 2-0 pitch. Koperniak takes a strike. All right, Jose Reyes, Miguel Tejada, Hanley Ramirez, Jose Guillen, Nelson Cruz, Fernando Tatis, Moises Alou. Roller out to second, and you're just getting started. That's a quick inning and a nice one for Colombia with Herrera coming out of the bullpen. Great Britain, 5-3. Great Britain, yes, Great Britain, 5-3 over Colombia in the seventh. Chavez Fernander into the ball game, and a crucial pitching change right now for Great Britain.
Well, and what a job Graham Spraker did. He came in and gave up a 2-run single to first batter, and then he retired 8 in a row. And he threw 41 pitches, and boy, oh boy, did he take the steam out of the offense for Colombia and really gave Great Britain a chance to take the lead, as they have.
First pitch swinging. Diane Frias fouls it back and out of play. Frias had a 2-run hit back in the fourth. Colombia in this ball game got a run in the second and 2 in the fourth. Had a 3-0 lead, feeling good, 1-0. They beat Mexico. Great Britain tied it. That one popped foul and out of play with 3 runs in the bottom of the fourth. The 2 runs in the bottom of the 5th, and here we are in the 7th. So you need 9 outs. And if you're Drew Spencer and you want to map this out, this is a crucial inning. Because if Fernander can get 3 outs with 3 hitters, it would mean you'd only have to face the heart of the order once in that span of 9 outs. That one's flipped down the right field line, and it's foul.
Yeah, this is the first time we have seen Fernander pitch in this series. He's making his WBC debut this time around, and he's got a big arm. He has thrown 96 already in this inning, and this ball is slicing, just misses down in the right field corner. But boy, you know, again, Drew Spencer, and he did a nice job in that blowout loss to Canada, holding back Graham Spraker and Chavez Fernander. He knew he had to keep some high leveraged arms because there was never a point in that game against Canada where he could have said, okay, now I got to use these guys to stop the Canadians. That never came about.
One and 2. I would expect they're stirring it in all those pubs over in England and Great Britain and all around there that have been watching the Classic. We saw the colleagues of the skipper, Drew Spencer. They've gathered. Looked like they were having a great time. Are they just happy to be here? No, they want to win. That's what Drew Spencer told us, Buck, first meeting before this started. Everyone says, congratulations. It's great that you're here. Pick me up a sweatshirt. You know, doesn't matter if you win. And he didn't want to hear that. And he didn't want his team to hear that.
Now you compete, and this is what they have done.
Ground ball, base hit. Colombia with a runner aboard. And of course, Colombia has enormous pressure here, having beaten Mexico, a chance to go 2-0. This is supposed to be the easy game in the rest of their schedule.
Diane Frias did not have a hit before today's game. He's 2 for 3, and he's driven in a pair. He's hitting in the 9th spot, and that's a big leadoff base hit here in the 7th as it turns the lineup over. Now they're getting to those big bats top of the order.
Campero. And Gustavo takes a strike.
Yeah, if I'm Fernander in this situation, I'm going to lean a little more heavily on my fastball. He throws 96, and he's thrown a couple of changeups and a slider. His slider is kind of a slow slider, just 82 miles an hour. But I would use that good, hard sinking fastball, see if you can't get some ground balls. He misses with that one there at 94.
Yeah, he pitched in the qualifier. Single A, double A this past season. ERA of 4.5.
He pitched in the Tigers system.
He's another one of the players from the Bahamas.
Pitched in Puerto Rico during the winter ball.
And having trouble finding the strike zone. It's 2-1.
Well, and you know what? We talked about young Harry Ford, and he's just 20 years old. But this is where you'd like to have an experienced catcher that would give you the sign and then sit right in the middle of the plate and say, man, you got to throw a strike. We cannot walk any more of these hitters in this ball game. You got to put the ball in play. Give our defense a chance to make a play behind you.
Slow chopper towards second. Seymour got one. Turn there. Got no. Safe at first. Almost had two. Everyone's going to take a look at that one.
Yeah, they're going to have a look. It was bang, bang at first base, and they're going to look at it. they think it's close enough to use their challenge. Each team has one challenge before the 8th inning, and they have asked the umpires to take a look. Bang, bang. It looks like his foot was in the air. Let's take a look. Now, I don't know. Hard to tell there. Boy, that ball is in the webbing of Ward's glove at first.
And hard to tell is not the criteria to overturn. I think he beats it.
Yeah, it looked like his foot was on the bag before that ball was in the glove.
While they review it, though, we were comparing the team from USA this year to the team that the Netherlands knocked off in 2009. And I didn't get all the way through the list. I think I was cut off at Moise Alou, who was a veteran on that team. I mean, I mentioned Hanley Ramirez, Jose Reyes, Tejada, Jose Guillen, Nelson Cruz. Robinson Cano was on that team. David Ortiz was on that team. Edinson Volquez, Ubaldo Jimenez, who was at his peak. Pedro Martinez, Johnny Cueto, Carlos Marmol, Julian Tavares. How's that for a team?
Yeah, and they had high expectations, and like you said, they went back to Dominican to relish the off day, and it proved to be costly.
I don't believe relish was involved, Buck. Swing and a miss from Harold Ramirez.
Oh, okay, I'll concede that. No relish.
And a pair of arms ready. And again, it's on. You know, Drew Spencer, it's like, who cares about who pitches later in the tournament? We got a shot here. Harold Ramirez. And then you get Urshela. So the big bats start a hitter away. That's why turning that double play would have been enormous. Two and one. Chavez Fernander is the first to roll in here in the 7th inning. Two arms ready.
And this is his third batter, so if they decide to make a change, they are free to do that after this at bat to Harold Ramirez.
Yeah, Urshela followed by Alfaro and then Reynaldo Rodriguez, the big slugger who helped take down Mexico. Alfaro waiting. 2-1. It's off the plate.
Home plate umpire called that ball off the plate. Jonathan Biarretta, home plate umpire.
Good pitch there. And it's 3-2.
Boy, I tell you what, the intensity is ratcheted up for Great Britain on defense. Both the second baseman and first baseman, they turned and burned trying to get over there with a chance to make a play on a foul pop-up. Taking advantage and trying to record an out whenever you can get it. Take a look at the second baseman, top of your screen. Ball is in the air and he takes off all the way over into foul ground, and that ball's about 6 rows back into the seats. All of a sudden, defense is pretty important.
Yeah. Well, they've had a couple days of lectures from Drew Spencer about that, and from teammates too. Three-two. In. And Colombia's got something cooking. Well, Buck, the bullpen so far, so good. But right now, a little bit of a wobble.
Yeah, pitching coach out to talk to his pitcher right now, trying to coax him back into the strike zone. Graham Spraker gave up a base hit the first batter he faced, but then he retired the next 8 in a row with a couple of strikeouts. He threw just 41 pitches. He was a Blue Jay until late last summer when he was released by the Jays from AAA Buffalo. His former teammate Chavez Young made a terrific play down in foul territory and right, but what a job by Spraker. He certainly earned his keep now. That's the first time he has pitched in this tournament. And you think about maybe getting an opportunity to sign a contract. He got released by the Blue Jays, and there's a lot of scouts in attendance here, and they certainly have to make some notes about the effort that Spraker has put out here today. Terrific job.
Here is Urshela, who's lined out, bounced out, walked. 5-3, Great Britain. Chavez, Fernander. Outside corner. I mean, the outside of the outside corner.
Perfect. Just where you wanted it. Down and away. Strike one. Urshela's 0 for 2 with a walk.
Fly ball right field. Young gets around it, makes the catch, runner tags, and Young uncorks a one-hop laser and holds both runners. How about that?
Boy, they have turned up the intensity in the field. We saw it from Seymour chasing after that foul pop-up. And look at Chavez Young. I mean, this is textbook outfield play. He gets his body in position, and look at the strength of that throw all the way across the diamond to third base. This team is pumped up, playing against Colombia with a lead in the 7th.
Yes, and the pressure on both sides immense. Anyone out of the bullpen. And remember, they're throwing to a young catcher, Harry Ford, who, as we've talked about, calling pitches for much more veteran guys who have been in huge games internationally. And that one pounded foul.
We mentioned Harry Ford is 20. In fact, he turned 20 on February 21st. He's barely 20.
So what, I mean, here's Harry Ford thinking to himself, all right, Alfaro has been swinging the bat hard and with success. And, here's an 8-year major leaguer. What am I calling here?
He's got fastball, slider, changeup from Fernander.
Busted bat on the ground, out at second. 6 outs away is Great Britain. Look at this dugout. Not just happy to be here, they're in a position to win a ball game.
Great Britain 6 outs away from a monumental upset, and the man you see there is a huge reason why. Graham Spraker, as Buck mentioned, released by the Blue Jays last year. On the same day in early February, he signed with both the Tampa Bay Rays and was named to Great Britain's final roster for this event. I spoke a moment ago with his parents, Bob and May Spraker. They are here. As May told me, for a long time, he didn't know where he was going to pitch this year. Then he said, hey, I've got 2 teams now.
Yeah, and right now he's on the edge of his seat, just like the parents, just like everybody around this organization.
It's absolutely incredible how consistent Tampa Bay is at identifying talent from other organizations. And they have done it time and time again. And Randy Arozarena, who's been a star in this tournament, is a perfect example. He was with the Cardinals. They traded for Arozarena, and he becomes a premier player and a big-time, big-stage performer.
They may not spend a lot of money on payroll, but they spend a lot of time and resources on player development and scouting and instruction. Harry Ford, left field and deep, and Harry Ford has gone out of here. Great Britain stretches the lead. My goodness.
How about a couple of the 20-year-olds stepping up big time for Great Britain? And there's Chavez Young. He's going to do the honors with the robe and the crown. And a second time in this series, Harry Ford has gone deep.
Can you be knighted twice? Oh, man.
Jaden Rudd had a big hit in the 5th. He's 20 years old. He drove in 2 runs with a 2-out double, and now Harry Ford with a little insurance here. It's a 6-3 lead for Great Britain. He absolutely hammered that ball. It looked like it went at least to the back of the bullpen, maybe even beyond the bullpen down the left field line.
Ward takes outside, and it's 2-0. Here's a look, a spinner.
A spinner right out over the plate. Man, he put a charge in it. We heard about his raw power right to the back of the bullpen. That's terrific. He'll have a pretty important souvenir getting that ball back from his teammates. What a swing. A little bit out in front. You can see he was a little bit off stride, but that tells you how strong he is. And look at the bullpen reaction.
Here it comes. That's a huge run. They've got 6 outs to get. And of course, on the other side, as we noted, Colombia, heavy favorites in this game, 1-0 already here in Pool C. The Cabrera brothers need to figure out a way to get it going.
And Colombia will play Canada tomorrow in the day game. And
now,
then the United States in their final game, night game on Wednesday. And this was the game you'd say, okay, well, you know, after the off day, Colombia comes back, we'll go 2-0 against Great Britain, and everything will be cool. Not so fast.
a loss to Great Britain wouldn't necessarily end Colombia's opportunity to advance, but it would put a big dent in it.
Boy, it sure would. And you know what? They're looking to finish up against what might be a very desperate Team USA.
That's right. Well, there's that too. B.J. Murray at the plate after a walk to Ward. Foul back.
If I'm Drew Spencer, I'm going to start the runner at first base in this situation. You got to run in already. Speed is one of your big weapons. He's talking to Antoine Richardson about his options now. You kind of got Colombia on their heels a bit and keep the pressure on.
He's running. Fly ball, left field. Ramirez back at the track, circles it, and makes the catch.
I started the runner, Ward, and he had a great jump, and I agree with that 100%. You got Colombia staggering right now. Go for the knockout. They start the runner at first base, and Murray hits a deep fly ball. Ward's not sure where it is, but he finally locates it and has to retouch second base on his path back to first.
Holbert Cabrera emerges. Now on his way out with Darnell Sweeney at the plate. Looks like he's going to his bullpen. Great Britain A 6-3 lead in the bottom of the 7th inning. And Colombia trying to keep it at 3 runs and somehow mount a comeback. And that 20-year-old has hit 2 homers here in Phoenix. The future is bright. Seattle, you got a good one. We'll step aside. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the World Baseball Classic Incorporated. May not be reproduced, retransmitted in any form. Accounts and descriptions of the game may not be disseminated without express written consent. This was such a moment, planting the flag, qualifying for their very first World Baseball Classic. They had upsets there. They arrive at the Classic, enormous underdogs in every game. Many people saying, hey, just be glad you got there. Be proud of that. You're not going to win a game, but enjoy Phoenix. Bring us a cap or something. And they are on top 6-3 in the bottom of the 7th. Galindo in, and Sweeney knocks that down the line, and it's fair, and it's in the corner, and Ward is racing to third, and Great Britain is set up 2nd and 3rd with 1 out. Oh, man.
Boy, what a turn of events for Great Britain, and we've seen it throughout the course of this game, how much different the players look, both in the field and at the plate. Much calmer, much more confident. That's a tough pitch that Sweeney hits. A sinking fastball down, and he's able to keep it fair about a foot inside that foul line. Wood with good speed recognizes it's going to drop. He's thinking about scoring, and then he looks up and gets the stop sign from Fernandez, the third base coach.
Well, here's Rudd, who had one of the biggest swings of the tournament. The 2-run double. That was back in the 5th inning. And that gave them the lead.
And that was against a left-hander with 2 outs. And he hit a line drive past Gio Urshela down the left field line.
Infield in. Ward's at 3rd. Sweeney's at 2nd. 1 out. Galindo. And it's in. We've talked all along about the interest in Great Britain and the different bars that are watching the game. Think about this, Buck. There's got to be plenty of TV sets watching in the Bahamas.
Absolutely.
Where a lot of these players have come from. One. In the dirt, kicks away. Here comes Ward, and he's in. And it's 7-3.
Wow, pitch charge on Colombia, and Ward with good speed, and that was one of the real strengths of this team. Great Britain has a lot of team speed. We have seen it with their ability to steal bases. They have a stolen base in this game. They've advanced a couple of times on wild pitches, and now they get another big run here in the 7th.
And Sweeney is 90 feet away at 3rd base.
That went right off the catcher's mitt, and again, catching on one knee. I don't get it with runners at 3rd base. You just can't effectively block balls in the dirt. And yeah, he said, well, it didn't go that far. Well, it went far enough for the runner to score. I just don't understand how universally the catchers have allowed themselves to catch on one knee. What's more important, a called strike or 90 feet?
Well, in this case, the 90 feet.
Yeah, and they said, well, you know, he can frame that low strike a little bit better. I don't care if you get 10 called strikes in that regard. If you give up 90 feet and allow runners to score, that's more important.
Rudd lost something. I don't know if it was a mouthpiece.
Yeah, it could have been it.
But after that big swing, everything kind of flew off. They collected it, and he's ready to step back in.
Maybe his thumb guard. You can see he's got that rubber thumb guard on his left hand.
3-2, strike 3 called. Got him.
Well, he didn't think so. He was ready to toss the bat aside and go to first base, and he's had good at-bats all afternoon. That's the first time he's been retired. He was hit by a pitch walk and hit that 2-run double. Take a look at this pitch, a four-seam fastball. It looks like it had plenty of the plate.
So Ruben Galindo gets a strikeout. Anthony Seymour is the number 9 hitter. 4th reliever out of Colombia's pen.
Well, Sweeney at third base really has to be aggressive now, thinking, okay, anything in the dirt, I got to take a shot at scoring here. You already had a wild pitch in this situation. Boy, he's getting a very aggressive break on the pitcher's release coming down the line. Urshela's quite a ways away from him at third base, so he's got plenty of room.
One. Little looper out into right, and it's caught there by Yordan Diaz. Great Britain adds a run. Harry Ford, Sir Harry Ford, after the home run, knighted and out of here. 6 outs away from a massive WBC upset.
The history of baseball in Great Britain goes back 250 years, and they've never had an opportunity quite like this. 6 defensive outs away from winning in the World Baseball Classic. And Rich, I've been standing beside the Great Britain dugout for the last inning. I sense no tension. I sense a lot of calm, a lot of resolve. They know they have their bullpen well situated to close this thing out.
Well, JP, that's a great point. I mean, they were up, stunningly up in this game, 5-3. And then they added on with 2 runs in the 7th. Ford hit the home run. They manufactured another run. So it's 7-3 here in the 8th. And a strike, a generous one, with Reynaldo Rodriguez.
Well, and JP made a great point about the calm demeanor. We have seen that from the team in their play today. They've been much more patient at the plate. They've been very calm and cool on defense. We've seen some fine defensive plays today, and they've flipped the switch playing in the 3rd game of this tournament. Everybody looks now like they're comfortable. They're not getting rattled. They're not rushing plays. They're making good judgments. And they've done all of this without much of an offensive contribution from Trace Thompson, who's been their big offensive weapon up until this day today. Thompson has gone 0 for 2 with a couple of walks.
They were down 3-0, and it felt like, Colombia was just getting started. 3-0 lead. Colombia, who took down Mexico in their first game, sitting at 1-0. Great opportunity to advance. Major League players on their roster. Right now it's 7-3. The big slugger, Reynaldo Rodriguez, waits. The 1-2. Hits it hard but foul. Now, JP, you said opportunity. With this opportunity, and you got to wonder what's going through the mind of Drew Spencer, because he knows what's at stake in terms of the big picture, the future of baseball in Great Britain, the program right now. With opportunity, there's big payoff if they can get these 6 outs.
There certainly is, Rich, and you consider opportunity and resources. Drew Spencer spoke with us about what it's meant for GB Baseball to be included in the UK Sport program led by Dame Catherine Granger, and being included in those programs, resources, training, nutrition, the best of sports sciences. That sort of competitive infrastructure is singular when you have a chance to be included in a national program of this kind, and a win today would certainly firm up the place of GB Baseball in the larger British sports firmament.
2-2. It's just outside.
But they have leaned heavily on his slider, and I continue to kind of scratch my head. His fastball, his sinking fastball, has been 94, 95. That's a very slow slider. Veteran hitters like Rodriguez can recognize that right out of the hand, and they'll take it. You've got a 4-run cushion. Use that heater.
Remember, it was Tyler Viza that started. Graham Spraker relieved. This is Fernander, just the third pitcher to work. Hit hard and into left field. That's a base hit. Colombia trying to start something.
Well, Fernander backed himself into a fastball count, throwing all those sliders early in the at-bat. And then Rodriguez, of course, pretty confident he was going to get a fastball. And this fastball runs right over the inner half of the plate, and he jumps all over it. 3-2 pitch, a 4-run lead. You expect to get a fastball, and he took care of it. Got to pitch more aggressively. You can't be careful and be cautious in this situation. You got to pitch aggressively.
Mabrys Villarreal, left-handed hitting catcher who's walked. 0 for 2, scored a couple runs though. Villarreal is 0 for 5 in this series. There's your in-game box score for Colombia. And one of the things Great Britain has done a terrific job of, Urshela, Alfaro, Rodriguez, the 3 boppers, really haven't hurt him. That's the first hit out of that trio. And they were the driving force in the win over Mexico.
And Dian Frias, who did not have a hit coming into this game, he's got 2 of the 5 hits, bottom of the order, hitting in the 9th spot.
You know, you watch Harry Ford out here running this game. He just homered. He's 20, right? Top prospect for the Mariners. You think about what this experience is going to do for him and how it will accelerate him through the Mariners system and prepare him for stepping into the big leagues.
Well, you want a leader behind the plate, and when you have a leader that is an offensive force like Ford, that's exactly what you're looking for from your catcher.
Big swing and a miss.
But you make a great point about the responsibility he has taken on here, calling pitches in a game like this. That'll serve him very well as he advances through the Mariners system.
Heck, in his first game, he was game planning and calling pitches to get Mookie Betts, Mike Trout, Paul Goldschmidt, Arenado, Schwarber, Turner, Tucker, Real Muto, to get those guys out. Back even at 2-2. Two balls, 2 strikes. Fernander, long wait. Nobody out here in the 8th inning.
Now, I would like to see him pick up the pace. I mean, he just, like, he's taking so much time. You got to keep the pressure on the hitters. They're the ones that are behind. And as a pitcher, you can set the tempo of the game by clearing your head, getting the sign quickly, and working quickly. Put the pressure on the hitter.
That's in.
I get a sense that Fernando's trying to pitch to avoid damage instead of pitching aggressively to get outs.
Understandable with what's at stake here, because I mean the players all know it. They've been part of this somewhat grassroots effort over the last 8-10 years. 3-2. Wow, that's a strike. He didn't hit his spot, and Ford had to reach for it, but that had the zone. He didn't get the call, and here comes Drew Spencer.
Yeah, another walk in a pivotal point of the ball game. This pitch all the way on the inside part of the plate might have caught the bottom of the strike zone, but they don't get the call. You see the catcher set up on the outside. The umpire's got a clear view of the inner part of that strike zone. Jonathan Villareta didn't like it, calls it a ball, and that'll end it for Fernander. He is out of the ball game and will go to the pen once again.
Nobody said these 6 outs were going to be easy. 7-3, Great Britain. Ian Gibaut out of the bullpen for Great Britain. He looks good in red, doesn't he?
Well, he sure does, and you can see he pitches for Cincinnati and gets a couple of big strikeouts there. He's got a big, strong arm, and this is his debut. He has not pitched to this point, and boy, does he inherit a very important situation. Four-seam fastball, cutter, slider, and a changeup. He's got the full arsenal of pitches, and he inherits a couple of base runners here in the 8th.
First pitch is a strike. Yordan Diaz. With the Guardians and the Reds, an ERA of 4.5. High leverage here with Great Britain. Great Britain. A 7-3 lead over Colombia in the 8th. '96.
Exactly what you want to do. Come in here and don't give the hitter any extra information. Strike 1, strike 2. You're in the driver's seat now.
Drew Spencer said, this is the guy if I need 3 outs. Well, he needs 6. He needs him to get through the 8th and the 9th. Got him! Diaz strikes out. There's 1 out.
That's the first time, as we mentioned, that he's pitched in this series. And it's a breaking ball. Kind of backs out, but it's high, and that's what we talk about with the backup slider. You see breaking ball, you expect it to break, and it backs up, and you get tied up, and that's a huge strikeout. First out of the inning.
Now Mercado. That's strike 1.
4 pitches, 4 strikes. Spencer knew he had to save his best for a good opportunity. And this is the first time they've had that opportunity to use Spraker and Gibaut.
This is the best opportunity that Great Britain has ever had. Ever in baseball. Mercado, liner to center. That's Trace Thompson out there. And he makes the catch. On his way to third base is Rodriguez. 2 outs.
Last year, Ian Gibaut had 12 strikeouts per 9 innings. That ratio was the best of any of his big league seasons. He made the Texas Rangers opening day roster in 2020. Recently drafted by Tampa Bay back in 2015 out of Tulane.
Frias, 2 for 3. Gibaut in the air, right field, hit pretty well. Young going back, warning track, makes the catch. A long out, but the 3rd out of the 8th inning. 3 outs away from a huge, huge upset. In the World Baseball Classic, Great Britain on top of Colombia, 7-3. To be Colombia's game. 3-0 lead. You felt, all right, they're going to start scoring and put this away. Great Britain has shut down Colombia and put 7 runs on the board. And nobody throwing there. Ian Jabot was terrific in the 8th, on the bench now, and it looks like he'll have the 9th. Meanwhile, Great Britain, who added on with 2 runs in the 7th, including a home run by Harry Ford, has a chance to add on here. Chavez Young has had a really nice game, both offensively and defensively. 2-run single, walk and a stolen base, and a tumbling, diving catch in foul territory down the right field line.
Of course, Harry Ford, he's 2 for 4 with a big home run in the 7th. And Jaden Rudd, he's had quite a day himself, another 20-year-old that came up with that big hit in the 5th inning.
You know, the hopes and dreams of Great Britain, they played USA and played them tough, 6-2. But they had the lead briefly, and once it became 6-2, you didn't really felt that they had no shot in that game. Then against Canada, they jumped out to a nice lead, and then Canada ended up, as Buck would say, boat racing them to an 18-8 mercy rule win. And so they run into Colombia, who many people felt coming into the tournament was one of the teams that really could advance. And they proved it by beating Mexico in extra innings in game 1. Of course, Mexico last night, and that going to send Young down to first base. Mexico last night manhandled USA. Young says he's okay, and he'll head down to first.
Yeah, there's a fastball way inside. Hit him right on the point of the elbow. And Chavez Young is one of the few guys that doesn't wear that protective elbow guard. And that one clipped him on the elbow. He's going to feel the effects of that, but he has waved off the trainer, sent him back to the dugout, and he'll take his spot at first. And you got to keep an eye on him. He has 3 steals in his last game against Canada. Has picked up a stolen base, as Rich mentioned, back in the 3rd.
Thought about running to the plate, a strike to Trace Thompson. So Chavez Young has 4 stolen bases. This is Great Britain's 3rd game. Thompson, of course, hit the home run against USA in the 1st inning. And Young is back.
Well, and Great Britain has taken advantage of some shaky pitching here by Colombia. Colombia has walked 8 and hit 2 batters. 10 extra base runners for Great Britain. And they've made the most of it.
Young shuffling his feet, looking like he's going to run. Doesn't. That's a pretty good pitch, although it just missed.
4 of the 8 walks have come around to score for Great Britain. So they have taken advantage of the Colombian pitchers.
Thompson swings and misses.
Hidden ball trick? Nope, not this time.
Ooh, that's close. And that's reviewable.
That was very close. Rodriguez tagged Young on the back. And the question is whether he gets back to the base and wants the quick tag. Boy, that's very close. And they're going to have a look at it. Colombia has asked for the review of the pickoff over at first base. Chavez Young is called safe, and he might be out. Looked like he had not reached first base before the tag was applied by Rodriguez. See him stretching, and there's the tag, and he's not on the base yet. That'd be interesting if indeed he did make contact with the swipe tag.
You get a challenge, though once you hit the 8th inning, umpires can initiate it by a manager suggestion. I suggest that you review this.
Corey Blazer is the first base umpire. He made the call.
There has to be enough to overturn it, and by enough you have to be 100% sure the evidence points to a reversal.
Now he's showing a replay up on the big screen, and both Chavez Young and Rodriguez.
He's out.
Looking, and
that's a pickoff.
Him out. Yep. He never got back to the bag. Quick pickoff by the pitcher, Ruben Galindo. And that's a first out of the inning, a pickoff by the pitcher.
Thompson still at the plate, and the count's still 1-2. And he strikes out. So there's 2 outs here in the bottom of the 8th. Koperniak will stand in, the lefty bat. Colombia will have the top of their order up in the top of the 9th. Campero, Ramirez, and then Urshela. And that's key for Colombia's hopes, is that Urshela and Ramirez and Campero can get on. Then you've got the boppers in Alfaro and Reynaldo Rodriguez. Big cut at 95.
Koperniak still looking for his first hit of the series. Came into this game 0 for 2 with a couple of walks. And he has since gone 0 for 4 in this game.
Chopper, and it's foul. 10,000 here for this day game. There'll be more than 3 times that you would expect tonight with USA and Canada. And if anybody is still partying from Mexico out in the streets, as they were late last night, early this morning, they may come in as well. Swing and a miss, high fastball. Great Britain done in the 8th. But 3 outs away from a massive upset in the World Baseball Classic. 7-3 to the 9th we go. Ian Jabot. They wanted him to get 3 outs, but they had to bring him into the 8th. He got those 3 outs. They're going to need 3 more. That last fly ball with 2 runners on died on the warning track. And here we go into the 9th. First pitch, 94 and a strike. Dilson Herrera is pinch hitting for Colombia. And Colombia needs 4. Herrera, left field and deep, run to the wall. There's one. A pinch hit home run by Dilson Herrera, and it's 7-4.
And you got the big bats coming up, Ramirez, Urshela, and Alfaro. Ian Jabot, he got out of the 8th inning with a pinch hit home run, has made it a 3-run game. Come off the bench and goes deep. Jabot struck out Diaz and then got 2 flyouts to get out of the 8th inning and strand a couple of base runners.
As soon as that ball left the bat, Great Britain's bullpen sprung to life. Jabot to the plate. And Harold Ramirez takes inside. Urshela is on deck, then Alfaro, then Rodriguez. 3-run game now. So much at stake for a team that wasn't expected to win anything here. Massive underdogs just to qualify. They did that. They arrive here. They gave USA a pretty good tussle in game 1. Wiped out by Canada. Michael Peterson in the bullpen. The financial ramifications of winning this game for Great Britain, substantial for baseball and the future of the sport. That man who volunteered to coach a T-ball team, leading the squad. On to first, and they throw it away. Murray bounces it. Colombia, another base runner. And this ain't coming easy.
Well, we had talked about how well they had played in the field this afternoon. They made some good plays. That's the second error committed by Great Britain. And here's the home run, a high breaking ball that just sat out over the plate. Pinch hit home run to start the inning. And then the next batter would hit what looked like a routine ground ball out. And here's Murray at third base. Makes a nice grab, rights himself, and just misfires across the diamond. I mean, he gave the first baseman no chance at all to make a play. Second error of the ball game.
Tying run is on deck. Urshela fouls it back. More funding, more resources, more status, more excitement, more academies. All of that feels like it hangs in the balance right now for Great Britain. Fly ball, right field, towards the line. Young, long run, has it, makes the catch.
Gio Urshela is now 0 for 8 in the first 2 games of this WBC.
Now, Alfaro.
How about the young catcher going out to talk to his pitcher? I mean, he's showing an awful lot of maturity for a 20-year-old catcher catching in the 9th inning of a game they got a chance to win. Calmly goes out to the mound and says, okay, we got Alfaro here. Big, powerful hitter. Let's make sure that we know what we want to do. I mean, he can hit a 600-foot home run in this situation, and you would still have the lead. You've got to be aggressive and pitch aggressively to him. Alfaro is 0 for 4 so far today.
Ian Jabot. Foul back, and Alfaro has hit some home runs in international competition. Look, he's hit a lot of home runs in the major leagues, but you go back to 2017, this is a game-tying home run against the Dominican. A lot less hair, still has the power.
Well, and that was the first time Colombia was in the WBC in their first trip. They were eliminated, but they certainly had opportunities to advance.
Counts 0-1. Ramirez at second. That's a strike. It's 0-2.
I love that. Go right after him. And like I said, if he hits a home run, you still have a 1-run lead. You just can't afford to walk him and pitch conservatively to him. Now you're in a position where you can throw that breaking ball, start it on the outside half and break it down and away. You might get him to chase.
Oh, 2. Jammed him and fouled it back.
Alfaro has seen 94 in this at bat. Oh, 2.
Alfaro 2 doubles. in that Game 1 win for Colombia.
Graham Spraker with a terrific relief appearance here this afternoon.
That one fouled at the plate. So maybe with more funding, maybe better uniforms, right? This was between innings. See the T?
The T almost fell off his uni.
It did. Eventually.
Oh, he wiped it off.
And there's the T. Oh, 2. Foul tip.
There was a time when Drew Spencer told us that they were waiting on some uniforms and there was a decision to be made. Magic marker or tape for numbers on our unis.
Yeah, that was at the infancy, but they were starting to play internationally. They had ordered uniforms. They didn't quite arrive, and when they did, they weren't actually what they ordered. I think they went Sharpie. Ground ball, that's a base hit into left field. Cautiously approaching third is Ramirez, and now the tying run comes to the plate. Reynaldo Rodriguez, who hit the big home run to help beat Mexico. Drew Spencer on his way out to the mound. Ian Jabot's not happy.
He hasn't made a call yet.
No?
He's out there to check on his pitcher. And everybody's smiling. Seems to be relaxed, and he still hasn't made a call yet. Is he going to leave him in the game?
This might have been a manager. Yes, he is. A manager visit, not only to get a little confidence, but maybe to cut the tension a little bit, because you saw the smiles.
Yeah, he sure did. He did a great job right there, and boy, what a timely visit. Go to the mound and say, hey, how's everybody doing here? What's the big deal out here? You guys ready to close this thing out? Good move by Spencer. What a class move right there. Just going out there, and you could see that Jabot smiled, and I tell you what, I think he's very appreciative. He gets the opportunity.
A ground ball here could end the game. A home run would tie it. Rodriguez ready. So is Jabot. In the dirt, Ford gets a piece, and Alfaro gets second.
Well, it's a wild pitch, and it gets the Colombian team out of a double play situation. But still, the guy that counts is at the plate. Just focus on him. Jabot is not in a save situation, but he has one major league save. That came last year against the Cubs.
Well, I'll bet this feels like it, though.
Yeah, absolutely it does.
Great Britain bullpen is ready if needed. 1-0 pitch. Ground ball short. Over for it, Sweeney. Run will score. And out at first. Oh, goodness. Ball in the dirt. Ward has had problems over there all day with balls just like that. And he picks this one. It's 7-5 with 2 outs.
What a play by Ward. Again, Donnell Sweeney gives him a short hop over at first base, and we've seen a couple of those get by him in this game. Not the case here. Sweeney rights himself, fires, but you can see kind of guides it across the diamond, and what a grab by Ward. He maintains contact with first base and scoops the one hopper.
Villarreal now.
What an effort by the first baseman, stretching, and he had one go off his glove earlier in this ball game, but that time he hung in there for the second out.
Villarreal has walked twice. He's 0 for 2. He has pop. Alfaro's at second. Tying run at the plate. Great Britain looking for their first ever win after qualifying for the first time for the World Baseball Classic. Massive underdogs in Pool C to every opponent. Big swing and a miss. 1-1.
Everybody in that Colombian dugout, top step. Same across the diamond in Great Britain's dugout.
Ball and a strike. Gibaut to the plate. 1-2. Drew Spencer told everybody who said, hey, congratulations for getting there. Don't want to hear it. We want to win it. And they do! Swing and a miss! God save the king! Great Britain has done it!
What a ball game. A historic win for Great Britain. And how about a couple of 20-year-olds coming up big time for Great Britain? A disappointing loss indeed for Colombia, but what a game.
Unbelievable.
Jaden Rudd and Harry Ford, two 20-year-olds stepping up big time, getting huge hits and leading the offense. And then Ian Gibaut comes out of the bullpen in the 8th and strikes out the final batter here in the 9th. As Great Britain holds Colombia to just 7 hits.
And Colombia, who is in the driver's seat here in Pool C. Oh my goodness. Drew Spencer. I don't want to hear just happy to be here. He lectured his players. We are here to win a ball game. They lost to USA. We're blown out by Canada. Colombia 1-0. Harry Ford.
What a moment for the players. Gibaut closes out the game, and Drew Spencer went to the mound with 2 outs and said, how you doing out here? Everything cool? I got this. I got this. And he did.
He had to say something because there were smiles in what should have been a huddle of tension.
Final pitch of the game, and Gibaut gets the strikeout, and look at the catcher. Harry Ford celebrating the final out as Gibaut closes out the game. What an effort by Great Britain's bullpen. Graham Spraker retired 8 in a row after giving up a base hit. And look at Drew Spencer. Had him all the way, man. Had him all the way.
Bullpen reaction. In the coming years, as the programs grow, the next World Baseball Classic in 3 years, even beyond, they will look back at this game, this moment.
A momentum-changing win for a baseball program in Great Britain. And good on that man right there. He could have gone to the mound. He could have gone to the bullpen. But he sensed that Gibaut had enough left in the tank to close the game out. And how about that? Great Britain in the win column.
You know, he could have said no to coaching T-ball, which is how he started as a coach. 4-time All-Ivy player at Dartmouth, living in England, taking his kid to T-ball. Nobody else knew anything about baseball. He volunteered, and that's where he caught the bug. And now here he is as the manager of the national team, leading them to a historic win in Phoenix, Arizona, in the World Baseball Classic, and many of the players still in disbelief that this has happened.
How about the play by Ward at first base, scooping that ball out of the dirt for the second out of the inning? I mean, he's been terrific over there at first, and the defense got a little bit shaky in the ninth inning, but they were able to overcome it. And how about Ian Jabot? Without the T on his uniform, closed out the game.
They're going to have such great uniforms the next time they're here, Buck.
He's got to go out in the mound and pick up that T and just put it away for his trophy case.
I think new uniforms are in order, as well as more funding, more academies, more kids into baseball. The impact of this win is just massive.
What a great win. This is the beauty of the WBC. You never know.
Well, I do know this. We got another great game tonight with Canada and USA. Great Britain, huge underdogs. Colombia 1-0. They knocked off Mexico in a great spot to advance. But you never know, Buck Martinez. For JP Morosi, Buck Martinez, our entire production crew, I'm Rich Waltz. Great Britain has done it. We'll see you tonight for Canada and USA.